Yo, I'm
Yo,
so excited to have Kane from CDA Activism. Kane, welcome to the channel.
well, go on, Haz.
So,
Yo,
Kane
how's it
and
going?
I, good. So Kane and I were getting into a discussion about activism already. So before we even went live,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
we were like, let's just take it live. But before we do that, and get further into that, let's have you introduce yourself, Kane.
Yeah, so my name's Kendia. I'm 20 years old. I run a YouTube channel called CDA Activism. And yeah, we do vegan activism. Yeah,
Awesome.
I've been vegan for about 4 years. And yeah, I want the same thing that people watching this stream want. We want animal liberation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kane, I know that you've done a fair amount of like Discord activism and in-person activism. Is there one that you enjoy more?
In person, definitely.
Yeah,
So in person, yeah, I am almost 21. Missed a thing. Yeah. So yeah, in person, it's just you can actually just connect with a person a lot more. Like people come up to us, and you get someone who's a bit more engaged on the Discord. Most people are just there to troll, and yeah, you'll get way more engaging discussions in person. It's mainly just because like my parents are being a bit fucking annoying about what activism I'm allowed to go to. So hopefully one day I can move out my parents' house and do whatever the fuck I want.
yeah. Hey, real thing. Hey, Martin. Good to have you guys here. Hey, vegan. I think Keystone Eon is vegan pundit, reincarnated. So, what's up,
All
all you
right,
guys?
okay. All right,
Um,
lucky
so
stuff.
Kane, when you do this Discord activism, do you? I think I've seen something through chat or not. What's it called? Chat roulette or Omegle.
Oh
Do you
yeah,
use that?
Amigo. Those videos are from like a while ago. I don't think I'm gonna go back on there again. It's just like, yeah, it's just unmoderated, like peer to peer kind of like chat room. It's just basically like, there's like white supremacists on there. There's like people just like showing their genitals and shit to like little
Yeah.
kids. It's just, yeah, I'm
It's
not
just,
going back on there again.
um.
But yeah, then there's the Discord servers. There's a couple of them. There's one called Vegan World. There's one called
Yeah.
Animal Rights Advocates. There's a few. But yeah, I do prefer in person. It's just way more effective in my view.
Yeah. I think I prefer in person too. But lately I have been using. You mentioned Vegan World. I have been using the um Omegle bot through that.
All
Where
right.
they have like different outreach streams. And yeah, there's all the hazards, all the hazards that you mentioned. The stuff that you definitely you don't want minors to engage in that. Like if there's an activist who's a minor, I would not recommend for them
No.
to be on there because just all the sketchy stuff that you see. But um, it is kind of nice for when you don't have all the energy to just get out on the streets and deal with people and kind of put yourself out there so
Um,
much.
are you frozen? Is
You
this?
froze for a second. Am I back now?
Yeah. Oh, it's just my internet. It's just me. I need a new Ethernet cable.
No
Yeah,
worries.
it's
It
just me.
seems pretty
If it
normal.
cuts out, it's probably just me.
All right. Yeah. No
Let's
worries.
just hope I don't cut out while I'm making a good point. But go on. Yeah.
No. It's all good. But yeah, in person, I think gives you more of that, like, you get that rush, kind of, it's always,
Yeah.
nothing really prepares you for it. When you're getting your equipment and going out and setting up, you're just like, wow, like, this needed to happen yesterday is the feeling I always have within me, where I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
this Holocaust needed to end like thousands of years
Yeah.
ago, but here I am still doing this, and it's never the right time, never the right place. There's always stuff going on, always circumstances, always different human rights issues, abound. But
Yeah. I
um,
mean, oh yeah. Do you want to go into the intersectionality? Gosh.
um,
Or do,
we
do,
can. What I think it would be
do you want
really
to go
good
on a
before
bit
we
later, or go on?
Yeah, maybe a little bit later would be good just to kind of talk
Yeah.
about the different forms of activism you do because I think it would be good to kind of address like before we get into kind of like inter-vegan issues, it might be good to just kind of like talk about different approaches and different kind of like activism. Not to get a consensus necessarily, but I think more because it'd be valuable for us to be able to kind of like bounce different ideas about the pros and cons of different activism. Um, are you familiar with Vegan Power Lab with Chip?
Yeah. It's good guy.
Yeah, he
The
actually has
outreach.
yeah, um, yeah, his outreach is amazing. He actually has a premiere going up in about 80 minutes or so.
All right.
And anyway, he does kind of like you said, just outreach and has an approach where he does like social experiment type things. And
Yeah, I've seen some of these.
there's a channel called I think it's called like Lucy Munson. I think she does something really similar where she just holds a
Yeah.
sign. Um, that's an approach that I've never done before. Like if I've ever gone out on the street, even if it's just by myself, it'll usually be with like let's say a sign that says like veganism is the only position against animal abuse, agree or disagree or something like that. It'll be a little bit more confrontational. It'll be a little bit more obvious what it is. Like I've done outreach before just on my own where I've had a stand and a TV and it's been playing a footage of the chicks getting ground up. So I took like a 6 minute or sorry 6 second rather clip of just the chicks going down the conveyor belt and getting dropped, going down the conveyor
Mm.
belt and dropped. So when people walk by, hey Natalie, they don't miss that. They see it immediately. Because one of the things that's been frustrating to me with like Cubes of Truth is that it plays the whole of Dominion. So sometimes when people walk by, they just see the drone footage of like the big sheds and swaths
Mm.
of feces and manure and stuff like that, and it's just like you totally miss the opportunity for them to see what's happening to the animals. To kind of like put the glass walls on the slaughterhouse. Um,
Yeah.
yes,
So
I'm inclined. Oh,
that's
sorry, I was just
something. Go on.
no, you. Okay, I was just gonna say I'm inclined to think that you need either totally one way or totally another. Like totally something that's showing. Like if you're gonna use screens, I think you should use it to show something like brutal. And if you're not gonna use them, then do something very not sneaky or misleading, but kind of more just like takes people by surprise a little bit.
Okay. So about that, there's a story that I have that I remember that I haven't told on here before. So, about a year before I went vegan in spring 2020, about a year before that, in spring 2019, me and my family were walking through London and we saw a group of people standing in a square with white masks, holding screens and signs, all right? However, I walked past the screens. We were kind of in a rush. I took a glance at the screens and I thought they were talking about something like a single issue campaign, like they were just talking because I saw like something about dolphins. Because in ethics class, like this kind of RS philosophy ethics class that I was taking at school, they played the documentary Blackfish to us, which persuaded me already before I was vegan to be morally opposed to SeaWorld. But at that point, when I walked past that cube of truth before I was a vegan, I thought, oh, they're just talking about the dolphins. I think I kind of like just smiled, nodded my head at them, and I kept walking. That's why I think, it might be beneficial on some of the signs, instead of just saying truth like it does currently, I think it'd be beneficial for it to say something like vegan or something. Because I was just thinking, okay, I'm already against the SeaWorld stuff, so there's not really much need for me to stop. I'm with my family, they're kind of just rushing forward, so I don't really have much time to stop. But I do wish I did stop and go vegan a year earlier, because I think I would have been open to going vegan at that point. So I don't think I've told that story before. I think I went on Google Maps recently. I think it was in Piccadilly Circus over here in London. Well, not. It's like 4 hours away from me, but it's in Piccadilly Circus in London. So yeah, I would have gone vegan a year earlier if only I would have stopped. So I guess, but generally I do agree that the way that AV is run, it's very much aesthetically pleasing. It's very well, not pleasing, but like it's very aesthetic, enigmatic. It's got people with masks, all wearing black, looks very professional, very well put together, like a sort of street performer that you might see in the middle of a large city. It catches your eye and it persuades people to stop, which is better than what a lot of other people, like some other activists have made. They kind of say it makes it look like a cult, but they have like some strange ideas of like, you know, having the people holding the TVs doing the outreach so that like, I guess, I don't know, they seem like there's people who have like weird ideas of how it should run, like people holding TVs doing outreach. But the problem with that is if the person holding the TV is doing outreach, then they'll have someone, the person they're talking to is going to be standing in front of the TV. So then other people walking past aren't going to be able to see it. You're not going to be able to walk away from someone who's just being full of shit and, you know, isn't having like a proper, isn't willing to like, who's just being silly. You're not allowed to walk away. You're not able to walk away from them. People trying like different, just like formations. I think that when Paul Bashir crafted the cube of truth, he didn't just wake up out the wrong side of the bed one morning and just like say, hey, this is the way it is, we're just gonna, I like squares, so you're all gonna stand in a square. It's done for a good reason, which I really appreciate. He's crafted it. It's because, like, you know, so people can see it in all four directions. That's what I respect, the professionalism of the cube of truth.
Yeah, it definitely has a more uniform look, I think, than a lot of different methods of outreach. One of the things that kind of, I want to just backtrack a little bit to what we were saying about kind of the messaging on signs. We were talking about how it might be better if it didn't say truth on it, or, you know, like the idea that if you had been exposed to the fact that it was a vegan message that you had walked by, that maybe that would have had a bigger impact. I think there's something that, you know, to kind of add to that, another consideration is the people, like, you know, you don't know if you would have stopped or not stopped, but it might have at least kind of like,
yeah, I can't say for sure,
informed you and planted a seed, you know. And I guess we need to think about when people see those signs, are they getting some kind of like, you know, is their brain, you know, like the vegan teacher talks about different clicks in people's brains, you know, it takes 100 clicks to be vegan, that kind of thing. When you walk by a sign that says, for example, veganism is the only position against animal abuse, like, you know that that person's promoting veganism. The question that it makes me think of, though, is this going to get the people who are just out for confrontation, who are just like, you know, professional anti-vegans to stop? You know what I mean? So I think like we also need to think about that. Like, you know, is like, because the other thing that I thought about is just if I hold a sign that just says social experiment, come talk to me. You know, I'm in Chicago. There's like, if I stand out there on a busy street, there's going to be tens, maybe not tens of thousands, but at least thousands of people that walk by. If not close to 10,000, if I'm out there for like an hour, you know, on a busy day. So I wonder too, am I, you know, like almost like it's like a utilitarian thinking in a way, like, am I missing out? Am I missing out on some potential utility of holding something that is going to be sending an animal rights message to people if I just have a sign that says like, talk to me, or something like that?
Yeah, so there's many variables to consider. Like, if it was the case that when I walked past the cube of truth, maybe I saw some pigs, I might have been like, oh shit, I better stop eating pigs and go vegetarian or something. And then, which is just a major problem, because obviously the dairy and egg industry and like leather and, you know, SeaWorld and all that. But yeah, and then, but what if I saw something about the cows and the dairy industry and I thought, oh yeah, oh shit. But then there's the whole thing about, oh, will it draw up defenses? So maybe we should just go out there with a sign saying thought-provoking questions and not tell anyone that we're vegan until, you know, someone, you know, has the conversation. But then, you know, you got to consider, oh, well, maybe all the people who didn't stop, they wouldn't have had that seed planted, whereas they would if, you know, it's had like some sort of vegan message.
Looks like Kane might have frozen for a second there. Hopefully he'll be back in a second. Or maybe he's just smiling.
All right, if it's your okay. But anyways, as I was saying, yeah, what was that? There's different variables to consider. Like, oh yeah, someone might go, oh yeah, you know, you might not plant the seeds that you would have planted, but you know, the conversation might have a bit less defensiveness. And then there's also the consideration if you're recording, you know, if it's a nice conversation, it might not get as many views as if it's a heated debate. So, you know, there's different variables to consider. Like, you know, some people prefer like the, you know, the 3-minute movie challenge that We the Free does, where people stand with signs saying, hey, watch this 3-minute video for a treat or something, for like a snack. And then, you know, people sit down, they watch the video, the conversations, as what I've seen on YouTube, might be a bit more, they might seem a bit more open-minded, but at the same time, they might not get as many views. You know, it's multiple different variables to consider. I have other videos that I've recorded, but I haven't released yet, where it's just kind of the debug your brain style videos, where, you know, it's and kind of like what you're talking about, you know, answer thought-provoking questions, stuff like this. But it's kind of there's no like right or wrong answer. It just depends what you're going for. There's just various different it's not a cut and dry kind of you know, this is better, this is worse. It's not. Yeah.
I think some things, though, depending on what we're going for and what the specifics of our, like, you know, individual reaches are, like online versus, you know, what we can do in person. I think it is possible to kind of figure out some kind of equation, if you will, and try to understand what might be the best thing for us specifically. Like, you know, if I upload a video of myself doing outreach and having a conversation, it might get, you know, maximum maybe 300 views. Whereas, you know, if I hold a screen out, you know, or put a screen on the stand that shows chicks getting ground up for the egg industry, and I just say, like, you know, I have a sign that says, do you know what happens to male chicks in the egg industry? People who walk by, that might educate and inform thousands of non-vegans. Whereas, you know, my viewership is mostly vegan.
There's various different things to consider. Then there's, you know, the TikToks and the YouTube shorts and the Instagram reels and all that, where like it apparently like mostly reaches non-vegans. And then, you know, you could also go into a restaurant like Tash Peterson with a big megaphone. This is the longest and largest Holocaust in history. If you're not a vegan, you are an animal abuser. Like stuff like that. And then, you know, you'll reach more people. That'll probably go viral and maybe even get you into mainstream news. But then, you know, the conversation you're having with the people right there might not be as, you know, enthralling, but, you know, you will plant more seeds. Everyone in the shopping mall will notice. So, yeah, it kind of depends what you go for, what you want to go for. It's not like a black and white answer.
Yeah, and I think with the disruptions, you know, that the biggest benefit of that, I think, is it's a latent benefit. I think, are you familiar with something called the radical flank effect?
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
so I think
just explain for the audience.
Oh yeah, of course. So I think what that does, you know, with the radical flank effect is that it shows people like this example of somebody who's quote unquote extreme, and then the next day they might meet like a Justin from Debug Your Brain or something, and then, you know, he's empathic and kind and patient, and then they're like, oh wow, like I didn't know that, you know, there were vegans like you and stuff like that. And you know, they might then come around then, and they might not have been willing to engage or had it kind of on their radar if they hadn't seen the disruption the day before or the week before or something like that.
Yeah. It's called the sleeper effect. Like, even if someone might feel angry in the moment, the message is still going in. Like, they might be angry as, oh, that vegan, they disrupted my tea party, boo-hoo, I didn't, oh no, I paid good money and now, oh, like something, whatever. Like, and then, but the message is sticking in. Right, and then they come across someone like Joey Carbstrong. I mean, not recent Joey Carbstrong, because recently he's been getting heavy recently. But say like a Joey Carbstrong street debate, or like a Paul Bashir, for example. Whereas if they didn't see Paul, if they just saw Paul Bashir, then they'd think that he's extreme. But because they saw Taz Peterson the day before, now by comparison, Paul Bashir is quite tame. So, now they're just a bit more, they now think that it's a bit more calm. And, okay, so, now I guess they're polite. Whereas, and, it could also go further. Maybe they just see a Paul Bashir and then they think he's extreme and then they see... But the point I'm trying to make, right, what's more important is the message and making sure we're all on the same page. So... there's going to be people who are going to say that, if you do this, you're going to push me away. But if that's really the case, like I had a conversation with a woman recently, like she's claiming, you vegans being too extreme, it's going to push us away. Okay, so if you then come across someone like Debug Your Brain, who's going to be nice and polite, someone like Earthling Ed, who's going to be nice and polite, and you still don't go vegan because of the inspired by them, at that point, you were never going to go vegan. You were just trying to use us as an excuse to try, and you want for not being vegan. You're trying to palm off the responsibility. Oh, it's the vegans' fault for annoying me, and they just want to gaslight us into being quiet vegans. That's what they want us to believe, so that they don't feel any sort of guilt. Don't fall for that shit.
Yeah, what you're saying is kind of all along the same vein. When you talk about either those kinds of people who will give that, like, it's basically an ad hominem. It's a personal attack, and it tries to conflate veganism to just the behavior of one person. And it kind of reminds me of like what you were saying earlier about how some groups will have the person holding the screen also doing outreach. Like both the people who stand there and talk to you and say, well, if you weren't so extreme, the browbeater people basically are very similar in a way to the filibuster people who just stand in front of the screen. They have no intent on going vegan, but they're kind of there to waste your time and maybe block the screen. And I don't know if people do this subconsciously, but I think, both of them are people that we need to kind of like get to move on quickly and not waste a lot of time on them. I've had instances where when I've been doing outreach, my interlocutors have just said, like, I'm never going vegan, even though, I feel bad about it. I know everything that's going on, or they say that they've seen whatever documentaries, like, such as Dominion, and they're not going to go vegan. I say that's my cue to end the conversation. I just say, well, just know that until you do go vegan, you're going to be one of the reasons that animals are being put through hell, or that they're being abused, or that this Holocaust is continuing. And then I just end the day. Similarly to where, like, if people start using the excuse with me about animals, either like, how do you know they want to live, that kind of thing, or like, how do, like, either not being conscious or sentient, that kind of thing, I don't entertain that conversation either.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
I only have so much patience, and I do get pretty annoyed sometimes out there. Like, I'm totally willing to talk to somebody if they're coming at it in good faith, but if somebody's like doubting the concept of whether like a dog or a pig feels pain, like, I don't even think that's necessarily like, if I want to quote unquote like own somebody on video, or like, make some kind of like hard hitting like vegan truth bomb crushes Carnus logic or whatever, it's not in an instance where I'm explaining to somebody that animals are sentient. You know what I mean? Like, that would be like a more ideal kind of moment for that would be something like somebody says plants feel pain, and then you tell them that by their own argument they should be vegan even if plants do feel pain, and they understand that those animals are eating stuff, like, and they actually get it and it clicks. Like, that's a boom, like, awesome moment, But if it's just explaining to somebody that animals feel pain, it's just like, I'm like, bugger that, you know what I mean, basically.
Yeah.
But I want to, oh, sorry, I just want to touch back real quick though on something that you were saying, because I think it's really invaluable. It just popped out of my head. Okay, sorry, it'll come back to me. Go ahead on what you were saying.
Yeah, like so that's what I'm thinking about, like especially when you have your videos on when you have it on video. For example, Joey Carbstrong. The majority of this conversation, because I understand a bit of how video editing works, like when it's just a fairly normal conversation, I've noticed that Joey likes, and I've even heard people relay the message from Joey that when it's kind of a bit more of a chill conversation, he kind of like edits multiple conversations into one video. So that's so essentially what he does, right? When he's having a conversation, one of what he does early on in the conversation is he assesses how is this conversation going to go? What is the aim of this conversation, right? Does this person seem like an open-minded enough person, someone who could actually be turned vegan? If so, then that's the kind of conversation we have. We'll treat you like you're open-minded, have a nice conversation. Later on when we post it, the way we edit it, we might have a certain, we might edit all these conversations together to try and make like this sort of, really inspirational video. But then when the person early on in the conversation, if he starts to realize that the person's a bit more of they're just there to fight, they're just there to talk shit, plants feel pain, vegans are all weak and emaciated or whatever, at that point, let's just make like let's just totally destroy this person on video. We'll post it online. We'll get all the views. I think that's his aim. Assessing what the aim is with the conversation you're having, I'd say is a very good piece of advice, because what I've seen from a lot of vegan activists is how it seems like a lot of vegan activists, when like even like the TV, the TV debates, when it's like with Piers Morgan or like Talk TV or whatever like TV show, it seems like they have some bizarre goals with the conversation. It kind of seems like they're trying to be as likable and as pleasant as possible in the hopes that maybe if they do that, more people will like them or something like that, and would be more likely to want to join us if we say like a set of magic words and we don't say things that'll make them not like us, which is a strange goal, because that I'm going down a whole different tangent, but the main point I'm trying to make is assess like your goals with the situation. Is this person someone who's reachable? If so, let's go down that route and try and encourage them. Is the person just here to fight? If so, assess the situation. Is the camera recording? If so, let's make a big video. Are the friends watching? If so, just make a fool out of them in front of the friends. If not, if it's just them there, then just end the conversation and move on to the next person. So I think assessing your goals is a good thing you can do.
Yeah, and I think also during videos, when a person is making an objection that's kind of like laughable, you can kind of like, it's really hard when you're actually in a conversation, but you can think about YouTube Shorts, for example, or TikTok Reels or whatever, Instagram Reels during that conversation, and you can kind of like act a little bit over the top in a way, just to kind of like create that footage of that moment to something you can come back to. I think there's something definitely there about how people behave when they're on TV. It's a little bit more, like you said, kind of just wanting to be likable and put off What do you think about like someone like, I guess, who do you think is doing that as close to right as possible? Like I would say, for example, Tosh Peterson, when she's on TV,
as well as possible. Oh yeah, Tash Peterson, Joey Carbstrong, they do very well. You can tell they're just on there. See, here's the thing. Real recognize real. It's kind of like this, old slang saying. It basically means that if someone's like, actually, if you be genuine, you say what needs to be said, the right people will be attracted to you, the message, right? But when you try and, fake what you do, I'm not going to mention any names of anyone who's doing this, but I've seen some interviews where it kind of seems like they're just trying to fake some sort of persona to try and be likable. I don't know. I don't quite exactly know what they're trying to go for, but it seems a bit like they're just trying to like say whatever it is they have to say in order to be likable or something like this, which I think is a mistake. Because here's the thing, right? Obviously, like being yourself, okay, obviously to some degree, like look, if you're just talking in like a load of slang words that nobody understands, that's no good. But somewhat be yourself, because like look, there's certain people who I've seen on the TV, like vegans, you can tell they just don't talk like that. They're just being told by their boss at whatever vegan organization they're a part of, hey, you got to talk like this, you're not allowed to say that. And you can tell they're just not being genuine. And I think people can pick up on that. And when, people are trying to like, or be this particular kind of person, and like, I think just be yourself. Like, obviously there's like different types of people, especially in the UK, you can kind of tell what, like just by talking to someone, what kind of upbringing they might have had. And when you try and fake that, it doesn't look good. Like if you're a bit more, working class and like rough and tough, and you obviously don't just go on there and like swear and stuff and say stuff that's just gonna, get the program off air or something like that. But if you try and act like you're some kind of posher, first of all, the real poshos will see right through this. They'll be like, "Oh, who is this? Who is this weirdo trying to like, trying to be freaking weird, like trying to act like someone they're not? They're just a fucking hood rat." Ugh. But then the actual people who you would have resonated with more if you were just being yourself, they're not going to be like, "Oh wow, so in order to be a vegan, I have to act like this sort of middle class hippie-ish kind of person," which will definitely be like, "Oh shit, that'll probably that'll probably like send a misleading message, like all vegans have to be like this particular kind of way," which will definitely not do any good. And same goes the other way around. Like, if you're just think about, imagine someone trying to be cool, right? Look in the mirror yourself and try to be cool. You're probably not cool, are you? Right? So imagine like just some posho trying to be cool. They're probably gonna come across very fake. Everyone who they're trying to imitate is gonna be like, "Oh, who is this weirdo? Like these vegans are just weirdos trying to be cool." And all the other poshos will just be like, why are they just trying to be weird? Like, I don't want any part of this. Like, so yeah, just generally just be yourself. Focus on making the best arguments, and if you try and like, tiptoe around the message, it'll come across like you're not actually valuing the message enough. Because if you show that, look, I'm not here to pander, I'm not here to tiptoe around the issue, I'm here to speak the truth, even if people might be a bit angry at you in the moment, that like they'll understand that, they'll deep down respect that you're just there to say what needs to be said about an issue that you care about. Whereas if you start pandering and start acting like, you care more about being liked by some guy watching the TV who you're never going to meet, if you start acting like that, they'll start losing respect for you, and they won't see you as someone who actually takes the message seriously, and in turn they'll not take the message as seriously. So don't worry about being liked. Stop caring about optics.
Yeah.
Just your main focus should be defending animals the way you would want to be defended. Make the best arguments. Act serious. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really cringe when do people still say cringe? I don't know if that's still joking.
Yeah.
But like, you know, when you see a vegan on TV and they're talking about the environment and the benefit to going plant-based on like the planet and climate change and that kind of stuff, it's just the most off-point, not genuine, not even, you know, people can see through that and they're like, oh, this isn't even an animal rights thing. They're just trying to push some like
it's the New World Order, yeah. Yeah, like it just comes across as disingenuous. Like there's certain animal rights organizations that sort of they try and like shield the message with like they don't actually go out and just say, look, what's happening to animals is an atrocity and it needs to end. They just tiptoe around it by saying, oh, the climate crisis, look at the floods in Pakistan and look at something that's happening over here. Like, look, you can tell that's not what you actually want. You just come across as disingenuous. Like, you don't actually take the issue seriously. Like, you're just trying to pander to someone, trying to act like who you just take pandering more seriously than you actually take the message, which is a massive problem, and it's not good for animals in the long run. You're not gonna attract the right people, it doesn't seem like, because here's the thing, like if you start talking about animals and you persuade people to care about animal rights, then they'll go on and speak up for animals. But if you're only talking about climate change, most people are just going to see that as like some sort of human issue, like, oh, what about
we lost Amy. You there? Okay, sorry, we lost her.
Yeah. They'll just think, oh, what about the humans?
Yeah, right. That right there was when you cut off human issues.
Yeah, what about the? Yeah, exactly. They'll think, what about the humans that this affects? What about this? What about that? Like and then they'll only think about human issues, and then you might persuade someone to be a human rights activist, which isn't necessarily bad, but we need more animal rights activists. So, if you actually get someone on the animal rights, then
yeah. We don't want to create, the thing is, like, we don't want to create vegan, quote unquote, vegan activists who will go out and say, you should eat less beef, and use kind of these euphemistic words and tell people, like, you should eat less beef because it's better for the environment or secretes less greenhouse gases and things like that. Like, I don't want to create those kinds of activists. I want to create activists who understand that veganism is about abolition of animal use and convey that.
We're turning to massive apologists who say, you shouldn't use this word, it makes us look bad, especially like the health stuff and like the human rights stuff. And I mean, yeah, people trying to like persuade people to go vegan because of whatever. What about the human rights issue? And like we can go into that later on. This human rights intersectionality stuff. But like, yeah, when he said, you should go vegan because animal agriculture affects these humans over here. Like, yeah, but what about when it doesn't? Then they'll just become the biggest apologists. Like these people who are just vegan because like you'll just end up with like some massively speciesist vegans who I'm sure we're going to talk about later on in this discussion. But
so it seems like what we're kind of hovering around is this idea of current events. There's like the whole climate marches and that kind of stuff, and when we advocate for veganism from that climate perspective, it's almost like we're trying to say, hey, this is trendy right now to be against burning fossil fuels or creating a lot of pollution. So why don't we kind of jump on that, like, anti-plastics, anti-water waste, anti-ocean acidification, and that kind of bandwagon. Try to make it seem like we're kind of like on the forefront of it.
It's a disrespect to the animals as well. Like, just imagine in any other instance of injustice. Like, why slavery, like human transatlantic slave trade was bad? Because the ships left pollution in the ocean. That's why it should have been stopped straight away, because of the pollution. And the Nazi Holocaust, the gas chambers produced toxic fumes. That's why that should have been stopped. Like how people are just going to think you don't take the issue seriously, aren't they? same goes for health. Like if he said, you know why it's really bad that my family member got raped? Because the rapist will catch an STD. Like, you just think that they don't take the issue seriously. It's a disrespect to the victims, and people are just not going to take the issue seriously. They're just going to stay in this selfish mindset, the speciesist mindset. Oh, how is this going to affect the humans? Humans come first, and all of this. Like, it's a massive, massive issue, and they won't even stay vegan for the long term because they'll just be like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to reduce. That's another thing you should never advocate for: reducitarian and vegetarianism.
That's part of the whole health thing. That's part of the whole plant-based thing is they'll talk about reducing, and they'll never talk about the animals. You know, they'll say it's better for the planet to eat less animal products, and you know, I don't even like the term animal products very much. You know, it just kind of gives people this message that it's this consumerist ideology. But yeah, you'll never hear the plant-based people talk about the animal victims. They'll say things about cutting your risk of heart disease and stroke and you know, your carbon footprint and that kind of stuff. But they won't mention the fact that you're actually going to adopt a mindset that's going to liberate you from being an oppressor. Like, that is a huge benefit. And I think something that people overlook so often is the benefit, like, to your mental health of no longer suppressing all of this domination, subjugation type drive or, you know, impulse within a person.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Or sorry, I said it incorrectly. So suppressing it, I guess suppressing it is what the carnists do, right? I don't know if I said it's suppressing or no longer suppressing, but what I meant to say is that when you go vegan, you're no longer suppressing that impulse. You're basically just releasing it. You know, you're saying that I don't have a desire to put other beings beneath me anymore for a trivial reason.
Yeah, and like when you also with like the health stuff, it's just like, you know, it's just when you persuade someone to go plant-based for selfish reasons, they will leave for selfish reasons. Like, you know, as soon as
we lost him again. I think that was a great quote, though. When you convince people to go for selfish reasons, they'll get out of it for selfish reasons. Let's see if we can get him back into this.
All right, wait, we're back right now, right?
We got you back. Yeah, the last thing you said was about how if you convince someone to go plant-based for selfish reasons, then they're
they'll leave. They'll leave for selfish reasons. Like, you know, it'll just be like they'll just see it as just like, especially with the health stuff, they'll just see it as like, oh, some diet, you know. Ooh, my New Year's. How many times do you hear people, ooh, my New Year's resolution is to go to the gym more and get more exercise? As soon as it's like February, they just completely ditch it, right? Like, it'll just become like that. They'll just become the most selfish people. They'll quit. That's why you get these surveys. Ooh, 86% of people who go vegan quit eventually or something like that. Look, they won't vegan. They were just plant-based.
Yeah,
totally. Like even if it's not like bad for the health, even if you teach them like how to organize their diet properly, they'll just quit as soon as, like, you know, there's some sort of social pressure or it's their friend's birthday or they got a birthday cake and I didn't want to look like that person. They wanted like this chocolate for their birthday, so I went and paid for cows to be raped and murdered, and you know, they'll just leave for selfish reasons. They'll just become like these flakes and apologists who want to tell vegans that they're just like, oh, extreme or whatever. So
yeah, they'll draw the line, like, you know, of convenience. They'll just keep shifting it more and more until it's clear they didn't care anymore. What you're saying kind of reminds me of this PETA. I think it was PETA where it says, "Where do you draw the line?" It's just got like several different animals, and I don't know what species it has, but maybe like a dog and a cat, and then a few different animals, and then at the end is like the typically farmed animals in the West, like cows, pigs, etc. And it's like, where do you draw the line for which ones are food and which ones are considered like pets or animals you don't eat? And there was this, like, I guess it's a meme in a way, where people kind of drew different lines and they said, like, you know, a normal day, this is where I draw the line. And then it's like meat shortages, this is where I draw the line. And then it's like, you know, zombie apocalypse or something like that, this is where I draw the line. And then the last one that I saw, they cut out all the animals. You know, they said they wouldn't eat any of the animals, and it was like trying to date a vegan chick. You know, it's just like what happens when they're not trying to impress someone anymore. You know, what
Oh
happens
yeah,
when?
yeah, yeah. That's something else. I mean, it's the case that I'm pretty sure whenever they do these statistics, it's always, oh, there's more women who are vegans than men. And then I hear some vegans say, oh, yeah, how do we get more men? Yeah, we should, say, oh, yeah, if you go vegan, right, here's how you get the gal, right? Here's how you get the gal and sugar, right? How you become a gal, isn't it? You go vegan and then you'll impress all the vegan girls. All right, first of all the vegan women are going to see through that. They're gonna just be like, oh, this guy doesn't actually care about the animals. They just want to get into my panties. So yeah, they'll just immediately see right through it, and then when they meet some girl who's a flesh eater, they'll just quit veganism immediately. They won't stay vegan for the long term. It's just gonna be the same kind of issue as the whole plant-based for health people. It was well for you so far, Kane. Yeah, the real thing. Go away. Yeah, because I don't go to animal rights events, obviously, with the intention of being like, oh yeah, what gal can I chat up at this event? That's obviously not what I'm doing, because I'm actually in it for the animals. So, I'm thinking about, how can I defend animals? I guess if I really wanted to go out and date, I mean, I've observed that like there's not that many. Most vegan activists are women, and like most male vegan activists are like older than me. So there's like kind of an age range of like 18 to 22-year-old women who are like, like, I mean, I guess like I wouldn't have much competition if I just dated like vegan women in that age range, but like that's not my aim. And if it was my aim, like people would just see right through that, and it just wouldn't work. So like, yeah, that's why we can't just like say, oh yeah, go vegan for the gal, because it won't work.
Real recognizes real,
Yeah, exactly. Like they'll just be like, oh yeah, oh no, they actually want me to do this other thing. It's not gonna work.
The first time I heard that saying was actually from Paul Bashir. Oh, we lost Kane again. I wonder if he can hear me. But yeah, I think I heard that first from Paul Bashir. Oh, sorry, you're back now. Okay.
Yeah. It cut out.
No worries. So I think Paul Bashir is actually doing outreach really well too. Like when you look at his videos, he very much sticks to the point. I was just referring to him because he's the first person I heard who said that saying, "Real recognizes real." So I think like we've talked a fair amount about kind of outreach and motivations for people going vegan and how we talk about veganism. Would you want to talk? I know you had wanted to talk about kind of like the human rights related stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, just I mean, I guess let me just make this little point about like advocating for reducitarianism. Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
I've seen like some vegans who just kind of like they think that like it's sort of, if someone isn't willing to go vegan, you should just advocate for reducitarianism. Then you seem like you're just pandering to them. You just want something from them, and you're willing to compromise on the message depending on what they're willing to do. So you just seem like compromising. But when you stand your ground and you say, no, the only ethical way to go is to be vegan, not vegetarian, not only one day a week, like they respect you more. Like, and if people say, what if they can go, what if they're going to reduce? Like, look, if someone's only ever going to reduce, that's going to be the case, whether you tell them to stop completely or not stop completely. Because like say if I tell someone to go vegan, no, go vegan, don't reduce, go vegan, they might reduce by 50%. But if I tell them, all right, yeah, go reduce by 50%, they might only reduce by 25%. Or even if they do only reduce by 50%, then then they'll be in a comfort zone. They'll be like, oh, Kane, that animal rights guy said only reduce by 50%. And then they'll be in a comfort zone. They won't take the messages seriously. So that's why we've got to stick to our guns, go vegan, even if the person doesn't want to, you got to stick to that message,
Yeah, I think when you argue for, there's a saying about kind of like self-improvement, but to be applied here. When you argue for your limitations, that's what you get. You get your
Mm,
limitations. And when we argue for past steps, then that's what we get. And like you said, you brought up a really good point. Like, if we advocate for total abolition, most
mm,
likely, even if that totally clicks for somebody, but they're not at the point where they're willing to go and empty out their fridge from of all the animal stuff, etc., they're still going to go ahead and reduce in their consumption, or they might go kind of a little bit more welfarist, which is,
mm,
I think that's a bigger problem. Like, if
yeah.
people actually do reduce as a result of our vegan abolition advocacy, that's a better outcome than switching to free range eggs or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, yeah, but yeah, again, like, obviously we don't advocate for free range eggs, but like, look, I've seen people like, quote unquote, vegans, like when the person they're talking to doesn't want to go vegan, they say, okay, buy free range eggs. Like, no! I saw this video by Die Militante Vegetarian, the militant vegan.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that too. The guy
yeah,
said he was vegan.
yeah, you seen that one, yeah. The guy she's talking to like this guy, and this other guy, he's like, I don't want to go vegan, and then he just walks away. And then the quote
He's like,
unquote
that meat's
vegan
got
just shouts,
free range.
buy free range eggs! And
Like, oh no.
Raphael was just mortified. She's like, no, you are not a vegan. Oh, that's a good video. Yeah, but that's true though. Like, you can't be advocating for that, because then they'll think that it's an ethical option. Like, you're like, oh, you go, oh, look at this disgusting farm, go buy free range. People are gonna be comfortable. But if you say, oh, look at this disgusting farm, go vegan, some people might just go buy free range, even if you show them that free range is still bad. Like, some people might do that, but at least they're not being told that they're doing the good thing. You know what I mean? At least that's not the message that they're being left with. They're not therefore ending up thinking, oh yeah, I'm doing the right thing. I did what the vegan activist tells me. At least they're not in a comfort zone. You don't want them to be in a comfort zone until they're vegan. And a vegan activist, actually, because more vegans need to be active, actually.
And it's not even our, place to be the people comforting them. The people comforting them are the animal exploiters who are telling them, like, oh, we killed this animal in a humane way, or this is level 6 welfare certified. Like,
Yeah.
that's a selling point for them.
Yeah.
That's what I really hate
It's
about
reinforcing
the idea. Yeah. And the
I'm frozen again. No.
I can see you. Can you hear me? Oh wait, he predicted it. He froze right after he said he was frozen. Hopefully I'll be back in a second. Conversation's getting a little juicier now. So for anyone tuning in, we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What was I saying?
We were talking about like the welfareism and like how what I was saying right when you froze was how some organizations will actually work with the animal abusing industries and try to get them get them to adopt different measures for welfareism, but the way that these things are presented to the animal exploiters is kind of like, keeping their financial interests in mind and saying, once you adopt this new standard, we're confident that it's going to give you a better image and stuff like that, and give your product a better image. If you get rid of like a certain type of like, non-shocking killing, or something about controlled atmosphere killing, or things like that, where it's like,
and then it's counterproductive. Like, look, I generally want to support like vegan activists, but when you just say something that's just like totally off the message, like, oh yeah, free range eggs are okay, like vegetarianism and reducitarianism is okay, that's just when my willingness to support the activists just kind of just starts to fade away. Like, there's just certain things that'll just make me just like not want to, get on board with it and support it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've seen some people lately talking about how eggs can be conditionally vegan depending on the situation. And I don't support that either. I think that is wrong to steal from animals. Like I think
Yeah.
even if a chicken lays an egg and you have a sanctuary, like I don't think that it's our place to determine what we do with that egg. Like if you have a pig on the farm and the pig ends up walking over to the egg and eating the egg, I think that's way different than selling the egg and saying it's a pasture raised egg, or even like feeding the egg to the pig yourself.
Yeah, this as well, like, that's how the whole mindset towards animals started. Like someone saw an egg and saw a product, and then they started eating the egg. Then the farmer's wife goes, oh, please can I have an egg? Yeah, I'll have an egg. And then the next door neighbor goes, oh yeah, please can I have an egg? Okay, you can have one. Person opposite, oh yeah, please can I have an egg? Then everyone on the street, Mrs. Miggins up the street wants an egg, and and then they eventually have to start. They can't feed the eggs back to the chickens anymore because there's so many people wanting eggs, and everyone in the town wants Mr. Smith's eggs, and now they have to make a whole industry out of it. Like that's where it starts. So let's just cut off at the root cause. Animals, things that comes out of animals aren't resources. Just stop at the root cause.
And we got to also, when we talk about eggs, we need to always talk about how chickens have been put in that situation, that genetic situation by humans. Like the red jungle fowl, who was their progenitor, would have laid 12 eggs maybe a year, but we have chickens laying like 320 to 350 eggs per year. So they're having a period, like not just a period, but they're basically menstruating like every day practically. It's like it's got to be torture just to be a chicken, like no matter how good their cycle goes, you know what I mean, for each individual, that's got to be terrible, you know what I mean, like passing an egg every day practically, considering that they would have normally passed one a month, not too dissimilar to a human menstrual cycle.
I mean, and then you got to feed the eggs back to the chicken, and if you take the egg, then they get distressed and they lay more eggs. But anyway, so let's talk about a big word that begins with I. Does anyone know what it is in the chat? Intersectionality, yay! Oh my goodness. So initially, intersectionality is a concept invented by a human rights activist, kind of like an academic called Kimberly Crenshaw. It's basically a concept of different people experience discrimination in different ways, and like the intersecting identities of someone might create like a new type of discrimination. For example, like a black man might experience racism differently from a black woman. Say like the black woman might be like viewed as some sort of like more hood rat, or like some sort of like slut or something, or like that, something horrible. And then the man might be viewed as like this hyper aggressive type. Intersectionality and veganism, you got a topic, but and then the black man might be viewed as like, oh, this hyper aggressive type person, and if they come walking through your shop, you gotta watch them. And then and if you add in, oh, there's a gay black man, that might reduce that stereotype. They might be viewed as a bit more effeminate, and like then they got like all the homophobia to deal with. That's what intersectionality initially was. But this concept, it won't really apply to veganism. Like it's not like a gay person's going to be oppressed for being a cow, or like that's not going to work. The only thing that I can sort of think of is maybe like male animals might be treated differently from female animals.
That's actually, if I could pause you there. So just to get a clear read on what your position is. So for the first part that you talked about with the individual who has different identities, or who's a member of different kinds of people, basically different groups of people. would you say that it is valid to say that that person can be subject to like multiple forms of discrimination?
Yeah. Like the initial concept is sensible. Like I get it, but it's just not applicable. I mean, I guess you could sort of say like, oh yeah, a female cow might be treated differently from a male cow. I guess you could sort of say that, but that's not what a lot of these sort of intersectional vegans are trying to say. Like intersectionality in the vegan context, it generally means something to do with, oh yeah, all forms of oppression are like interlinked into this big form of oppression. Not only that, they want to hijack the animal rights movement with human rights shit. If you're a vegan, you gotta have this political belief on that political belief on this. If you have some political belief that we don't like, you gotta be kicked out of the movement. If this animal rights event takes place in a country we don't like, it's got to be banned. We're going to go to your animal rights event and talk about this human rights stuff. It's basically like a lot of these people, by the way, they will be opposed to like this whole all lives matter thing, like someone responding to Black Lives Matter with, oh, white lives matter, or someone responding to gay pride with like, oh, straight pride. They'd be against that, but that's exactly what they're doing with the animal rights movement. They're saying, oh, we're out here speaking up against what's happening to non-human animals. Now they're like, what's happening to the humans? You know what I mean?
That the intersectionality in veganism might be an attempt. I use this word, without the pun intended, but almost like a trump card against people saying, "Hey, you vegans only talk about animals. You guys have chosen the animals, but what are you doing for, insert human rights related issues?" So that they can say, "Well, actually, I attended this protest last week, or I do this and that kind of thing." Almost like a way to bolster their commitment, I guess, against oppression, or bolster the aesthetic of like what vegans care about.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes into the point we were making earlier. I think a lot of vegans are kind of just thinking, let's just try and be as appealing and as pleasant to people as possible, so that maybe we might be able to smooth them into like joining our cause, which isn't going to work. First of all, contrary to popular belief, a lot of these political issues are very fucking divisive. It's not like unanimously agreed on, right? Abortion, whether rightfully or wrongfully, there are people, some people agree with it, some people don't, right? So you're not going to be able to please everyone once you start talking about Israel and Palestine, abortion, and should a woman rather be stuck in a woods with a man or a bear or whatever? These are divisive topics, whether you like it or not. So if that's what you're gonna do, you're gonna be like, if you start, because I've seen activists say, you should be allowed to wear a t-shirt saying, women have the right to abortion to an animal rights event. Because it's just objectively right that women.
Uh-oh. Let's wait for Kane to come back here.
Yeah,
Right,
so let's just say they'll say something like, oh, well, it's just objectively the truth that women should be allowed the right to an abortion. Okay, let's just grant that for the sake of argument. I know there might be people here who disagree with that. Let's just grant for the sake of argument that it's objectively true that, abortion is like this ethical thing that all women should be allowed to do in any circumstance whatsoever. Not everyone, whether you like it or not everyone is going to agree with that, right? And when you start, bringing in t-shirts and signs and banners that say that to an animal rights event, it's going to be this huge distraction. There's going to be people who disagree with you who are going to...
Uh-oh. Lost him again.
Who are going to say, hey, you vegans just want to kill unborn babies. If that's what veganism is, it's just like this big distraction. It's going to leave a big door open to all these distractions. And even the people who are going to agree with you, that's just going to be like, oh, yeah, they're you're in favor of abortion, which isn't gonna, it's just a huge again, it's still a distraction from what they're talking about. They're just gonna, what's gonna be running through their head is, oh yeah, you know, abortion, yeah, luckily people are getting on board with this abortion idea, and then you know, they're going to not be thinking about the animal rights. It's not going to be effective. You're going to alienate a lot of people who are against abortion. It's not going to end well. I believe that activist events should be kept to. We have the animal rights protests, we have the abortion protests, we have the Israel-Palestine protests. And these should be separate protests. I don't see any benefit in, like, you know, mixing up these sort of like unrelated events and trying to like make them all one and the same. But not where these intersectionalists end there. I'm gonna let you cut in because you look like you got something to say. Yeah, go on. There's a weird noise. There's a weird noise. It just sound all muffled. Yeah, I can't even understand you.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now. But yeah,
okay.
Go on. Do you have anything to add before I go on?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let me just okay, I think we're good. Okay, I just had to switch headphones because my Bluetooth battery went out. So I wanna get back to the point that you were making about when you have consensus with a person who, like, let's say you know, you have your activist with the shirt that says you know, abortion is a woman's right, and then a person attends the protest who's not vegan, and they see that shirt and they agree with it. What you're saying is that shirt, that consensus, it doesn't lead that person any closer to taking animal exploitation basically seriously.
Yeah. Like, even if the person agrees, it's just going to be like, you know, oh yeah, so these people are in favor of abortion. Cool. How is that going to persuade someone to not stab animals? It's just going to be like, again, like, this isn't like some sort of car sale where you're just trying to like get someone to sign on the dotted line. Like, they're eventually going to go vegan and realize, hey, just like all the non-vegans, like vegans, because look, as the vegan movement's going to grow, it's going to be inevitable that we're going to have our political disagreements. Like, non-vegans don't agree on all these political issues. So, like, I don't like. Look, okay. Look, I understand that people are passionate about these topics, and yeah, it's understandable. These are important issues, but like, look, people aren't gonna. It's not gonna keep people vegan for the animals for the long term, just because people are like. Even if every vegan did end up agreeing on the abortion issue, like, you know, they're just gonna come to all the vegans and start talking about abortion, and because they were never brought in. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe you might be able to, once they make friends with us, you can bring them in on animal rights. Like, why don't you just talk about animal rights to begin with? You're just diluting the message with all this other stuff about, leftism and feminism and all this other stuff. Like, you know, you just gotta get straight in. Like, you can't be pandering and, you know, wasting your time talking about all these other issues when there's already a women's rights march. There's already all these other marches. There's no need to just like dilute it with all this other stuff.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point about how when people are you know, like this example that I just kind of highlighted, or maybe an example that I can highlight about this example that you just talked about. You able to hear me? Uh-oh, it's frozen again. Let it go, let it go. Thought I'd sing a song from Frozen since he's frozen. Okay, I'm hearing you. There we go.
You brought up this really good point. That's something.
Yeah, I was about to. So if you're, let's say, at a political rally for, let's say, like a presidential candidate, and let's say this candidate is from like a very conservative party. They oppose abortion, for example. And let's say that somebody walks up to them who's a pro abortion rights person, and they're wearing the shirt that says abortion is a woman's right, and they walk up to that person. Let's say they're able to convince the person who's against abortion and who's voting for a candidate that's against abortion. If they're able to talk to them and convince them that a woman should be allowed to have an abortion, it's like doing that and then expecting, and then that person, like them expecting that to affect then who they vote for in a way, which may not happen, but there's no guarantee there.
Like expecting them to change the view on like gun control or something. But like, yeah, let's even say that it was something that everyone agreed on, like child rape is bad or something. Like I wouldn't even say we should wear a t-shirt saying like child rape is bad, because people are just gonna, you know, drive past the protest, think, oh, they're protesting against child rape, instead of like actually like driving past the protest and thinking about the animal rights message, if you know what I mean.
I think something important that comes up when you talk about kind of moral baselines is that we have more or less, we each have a moral compass, and to some people, something might see, you know, they might see oppression from one angle, where another group might see oppression from a different angle. But when we have a moral baseline that's kind of accepted universally by a political party or type of ideology, they tend to draw a line somewhere. So like with the left, for example, at least in the US, on the whole, it would seem like animal rights would be part of that, because they're against hierarchies for the most part, and they're against the idea of like, you know, this emphasis on family tradition, like traditional gender roles. And
I mean, you can kind of say that both ways. Like, I mean, people seem to say that leftists are more likely of going vegan. Like, that's really not clear to me. Because first of all, there's a lot of like just crazy anti-vegan nonsense. People saying veganism is like racist or something, like colonialist or anti-indigenous hunting, and like you know, there's right wingers who might go vegan because maybe you could also make the argument that some of these right wing principles might lead to be veganism just so ubiquitously obvious that like from any political standpoint you can argue it can lead to veganism. Like, say for example, someone is against like transgender children getting surgery or something, like because, oh, you know, you are like, you know, altering their body. I mean, like, look, what's happening to a pig in a farm? They're getting the tails clipped, they're getting their teeth yanked out. I mean, you're just like that doctor. If you're a non-vegan, you're basically paying that doctor you don't like. And, you know, if you're against abortion, you're basically you're against like killing and murder. Well, look, an animal's being murdered when you eat them, so it just doesn't seem clear to me. I think some vegans might say, oh, well, there's a lot of vegans who are leftist. Probably the majority of vegans are leftist. Here's what I think that is because of, right? Maybe it's because back in the old days, veganism might have been like this kind of, you know, going against the grain kind of thing. And back in the day when leftism was a lot more fringe, you know, it might have appealed to them more. But now leftism might be going a bit more mainstream. It wouldn't be as appealing to them anymore. And also, like, there might have just been a history of people trying to, like, more advocate.
Looks like Kane froze. Is my sound better? I just switched.
Yeah.
You just froze for a second, but is my sound better right now?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, there might be like this whole you know, more of a push towards left-wing people to go vegan back before there was like, yeah, and what I think it is most people just don't think about politics. That's what I think. Maybe just most people don't think about politics. This is the deepest. Once they like go vegan, that's like the deepest they've thought about anything in their life. And then, you know, they come into a vegan circle and maybe they're talking about politics, and you know, they might just hear like one vegan just say, "Oh yeah, I'm a leftist because you know this is why you should be a leftist because of this and this and this," and they're like, "Oh yeah, leftism sounds amazing. I guess I'm going to become a leftist." But they don't really hear any like right wingers, so like they only hear like one side of the argument, and then you know, it kind of makes them. They don't become vegan because they're a leftist. They become a leftist from being around vegans because they just kind of never really thought about it before, and like they just hear an argument and they're just like, oh well, I guess I'm a leftist, and they just kind of don't really think. I just think most people just don't really think too deeply about this stuff, and they just adopt whatever views that the people around them have. So maybe like historically there might be more leftists, so they just kind of just hop on that bandwagon. So yeah, it's just not clear to me that leftists are more likely of going vegan than right-wing people.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily the case either. I do think that as far as principles, it seems like being like for liberation seems to be more leftist in general, because I guess like liberalism and leftism kind of stems from this idea of it's like, you know, a desire for power minus the power. You know, it's kind of like wanting to mess with the existing hierarchy. So I can see, but that's not to say that I think that if somebody has that kind of desire or ideology that they're more likely to go vegan. But I think that that's why you probably see more vegans adhering to leftism. I don't think it's necessarily true that if you go vegan, you're around people who are more leftist in general. I think it's possible, but it also depends where you are. At least like in the city where I live, I would say maybe the most of the vegans I know are actually like more right wing.
Yeah, like I guess it just kind of depends. Like I don't know if you've seen.
We lost him again. Hopefully he'll be back in a second. Should be just a second here.
Anyways,
okay.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, so you froze there. You were saying, I don't know if you've seen, and then we lost you.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen David Rams and Carnism Debunks live stream from about a year ago called "Why Progressives and Conservatives Should Go Vegan." They basically talk for 3 hours about you know, this left-wing belief, this right-wing belief, this left-wing belief, this right-wing belief. They all mean that you should go vegan. Like, it's pretty much just like, yeah, and then there's also like the, you know, the right-wing libertarianism. Oh yeah, the government shouldn't have this kind of control over us. We should just be free to do whatever we want. Like, we shouldn't have to pay taxes and like, you know, all this other stuff. We shouldn't have to, you know, we should have more freedom to do X, Y, Z. And then, yeah, I mean, they might see, oh, well, the animals don't have any freedom. So, yeah, let's give the animals freedom. So, yeah, it's just, my point is, it's just really not that clear. You know, there might be, you said that where you live, there's more right-wing vegans, but, yeah, that's just not clear. But, yeah, before...
Yeah, I mean, and it's just people mostly, you know, who I've met through activism, stuff like that. I don't think it's necessarily the case that there's more right-wing vegans here, but a lot of it just depends on who you're exposed to. From what I've seen, the people who are more leftist and vegan seem to be a little bit more along the apologist route, and you know, will kind of be more lenient about principles.
So that's what I was going to lead on to, the intersectionality stuff. A lot of these quote-unquote intersectional vegans, massively speciesist. Massively. I'm not going to mention any names here, but there's a particular intersectional. They claim to be like an animal rights org, but they're not. I've seen these organizations. They say, oh, you know, when you're talking about the animals, you shouldn't use the proper language. I mean, you shouldn't use the word rape, slavery, Holocaust, murder, because it might bring up like multi-generational trauma or something. But when they're talking about what's happening in Palestine, oh, it's a genocide, it's a this, it's murder, it's all these words that they say we shouldn't use for the non-human animals. It's massively speciesist. I've even seen like an intersectionalist say that we should advocate for welfare for non-human animals, but like for the humans, you know, they would not advocate for like a humane genocide. I mean, let's just grant it's a genocide. Some people argue that it's not. Some people argue that it is. Let's just grant for the sake of argument that it's a genocide going on. That's what a lot of people like. There's just massive double standards going on. Did you see what's been going on here by a particular activist? Fuck it, I'm gonna name him. His name is Doug Moore. His YouTube channel name is Vegangelical. He advocated, right, because National Animal Rights Day, which is an animal rights group, I'm wearing their t-shirt right now, because it also operates in Israel, which is a country he doesn't like, whether rightfully or wrongfully. He doesn't like that country. Therefore, the animals don't deserve to be defended over there, and there shouldn't be a National Animal Rights Day over there because of something that the Israeli government's doing. Massively speciesist.
So yeah, I haven't heard of that situation. I did see one thing on, I think it was on George Martin's channel, surrounding Terry, I believe.
Guess it was in that video.
I think that was you, right?
Well, thanks for feeding my ego. Okay, look. Yeah, his first name is Terry. I said that in the video. I'm not gonna say his channel name because I know he's probably gonna watch. No, he's not gonna watch this. Because he's in an echo chamber. But yeah, he wants like some sort of shout out, so I'm not gonna give it to him. Haha. But yeah, basically I was in a Discord server and I basically had a rant about like, look, if you think that banning an animal rights event because it also happens in a country that you don't agree with, it is like appropriate behavior, you're not a vegan. And yeah, George Martin found the rant funny, so I'll let him upload it to his channel.
So one thing that kind of occurs to me when you're talking about intersectionality and the different examples of how somebody who holds intersectional views would kind of have a double standard toward non-human animals. I wonder if that actually is intersectionality.
It's not like it's a fundamental misunderstanding of the original definition of intersectionality, but that's the word that they use to call that. That's what they call it. They call it intersectional veganism. It's just, yeah.
So you talked about how, you talked about the example of if there's a person, for example, who's who has like a dark skin tone and they're kind of like big and burly and stuff like that. And they're in a store, they might be kind of like followed or something like that or whatever. Like there might be unfair prejudice toward them. And you talked about how like, but if they were gay, for example, then that might kind of reduce that. Like just basically this like equalizer or kind of like a almost like a gauge of like how much different kinds of oppression they might be subject to. Almost like if you think about it, like there's different scores. Like this is how much homophobia they would incur. This is how much racism they would incur. This is how much ableism.
That's a sensible concept, but I'm just on about when we're talking about like intersectional veganism, it's just these really ridiculous vegans who have this weird idea of what they want to turn the movement into. They basically want to hijack the animal rights movement with their human rights stuff. But,
So
like, there was
if
even
I could cut you off there real quick, I was just getting it, but because I don't want to forget this. But then I'm happy to come back to your example. But so in that case where there is that person, you had mentioned that the idea of intersectional veganism, though, is kind of like wholesale ridiculous because of the idea that there's no human that intersects on a species level, like with other species.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe a cow that's a female might be treated differently from a cow that's a male, but that's not
you're
what
making,
the
yeah. But you're kind of making the point exactly that I was just about to try to get us into. So it's true that we're as humans never going to intersect with another species. You know, we're all like genetically probably 99.99999 all similar as humans. You know, we don't have any interspecies variation left in humans. I think probably the last group was like the Neanderthals, who are I guess technically a different species, who are able to you know, create families with vegans, or I'm sorry, with humans.
I mean, we can get into all the scientific history.
No,
of all
yeah,
that, but,
yeah. That's not my desire. But what I'm trying to get into is this idea of that you segued into it perfectly with the other animals, like other species of animals, being subject to human related oppression. Like you talked about, like the female cow. Of course, we should establish that the dairy industry, they sexually violate male bovines and you know, cows and the heifers.
Yeah, go on.
No worries. So there might be an instance, for example, where I think I talked about this with Turning Veganese with AJ, about how, like, let's say there's an example of like an animal who is engaged in homosexual behavior. And, you know, they would be subject maybe to homophobia if a person was homophobic and they observed this animal doing that. You know, you can think of other examples. For example, when people call animals an it, you know, they're kind of like ignoring that animal's status as a he or a she. You know, they're kind of misgendering them, or just, you know, calling them something that's just kind of like demeaning. It almost brings up this idea of, like, you know, we talk about dehumanization, and humans are able to be dehumanized, but I forget what stream it was that I saw somebody talking about this on. It might have been one of Roger Yates's videos, but I think he had a guest, if I recall correctly. It might have been on another channel, but this individual who I believe was vegan was talking about how it might be better, instead of saying like dehumanizing, for example, to say like de-individualizing or depersonalizing, or things that kind of like
depersonalize the animals. Yeah. I see where you're coming from, but that's the thing. Like,
that seems intersectional to me. Like, just to kind of put a cap on it, that seems like a good version of intersectionality.
Okay, yeah, a good version of it. Yeah, like, look, if you're talking about what intersectionality actually means, then I think that's a very sensible concept. I think it makes sense. Yeah, but what these people are trying, like, it's only going to be the non-humans are the victims of that. What this particular group of vegans are trying to do is they want to fucking hijack the vegan movement with the human rights stuff. There was even on National Animal Rights Day, there were these quote-unquote vegans who they went to a Palestine march, and they went to a National Animal Rights Day event, an animal rights event. One of the few animal rights events that are just dedicated for the animals. It's already like big Palestine protests with thousands and thousands of people that happen all the time. But, you know, the one protest that's for the non-human animals got hijacked by these people. Oh, why aren't you talking about the Palestine issue? You know, it's massively speciesist. They would not go to a human rights march and say, hey, but what about the non-human animals? Even if those human rights marches actually abuse humans. Like, I've even seen, like, at Black Lives Matter marches, they were like, they were running around with a decapitated pig's head. Like, where are all these? What happened to the whole consistent anti-oppression, right? These people claim to be consistent anti-oppression. You would expect them to be to be first at the scene. Right, this is inconsistent anti-oppression. You all need to be cancelled. This is horrible. But no, they're not. They're just like, now's not the time, vegans, to complain about this. It's just, look, I know I sound insane and like obsessed right now, but like, look, I used to think this about George Martin, Carnism Debunked, but look, once you witness what this intersectionality stuff can do to an animal rights group, to the animal rights movement, it'll start to become very, very clear why this is a fucking problem. Like, I can tell like a few other stories if you want about how intersectionality's ruined animal rights if you want, but yeah, it's just been really getting on my nerves lately.
I think there's something to be said for the idea that, you know, I like that we have agreed on the idea of intersectionality having a positive role, you know, when it comes to liberating other animals from human-centric.
Oh, we're frozen again.
I can hear you, but we might lose you in a second. Let's just hang tight.
Yeah.
I think we're coming back. There we go. So I like that we agreed on the idea of intersectionality being potentially beneficial depending on how it's understood. What I understand you're saying is that the way that people either self-identify or put it into practice or explain it is a way that basically marginalizes other species, you know, non-human animals at the expense of humans. When you think about the way that other animals are thrown under the bus during these causes, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, you know, when somebody, let's say you're running an outreach event and somebody comes up to you and says, oh, you don't want animals to be killed. Well, what do you think about abortion, for example? And you have to kind of remind them, well, we're talking about animals here, you know, and they'll basically try to call you a hypocrite during, you know, that questioning.
Like we're not at animal rights events. But that's the thing. Like, I just think that a lot of people, like, it's not going to help that, like, when you start to attach these other issues to veganism, like a lot of people, a lot of vegans, they say, oh yeah, well, you know, it's objectively the case that women deserve the right to an abortion. That's objectively the case. So yeah.
Frozen again. I should just put a little clip of like music from Frozen that'll entertain you guys. I apologize though for the choppiness and the poor audio earlier, but hopefully.
It's just like a lot of these people, oh yeah, you know, it's objectively the truth. And then, you know, once you start making the vegan movement have like these positions and all these human issues about abortion and gun control and all these other things, you're just giving people like more avenues to try and like attack the vegans with that don't have anything to do with animal rights. So, you know, it's further diluting the message of the animal rights movement that is supposed to only be for the animals.
Something that occurred to me that I think something that I think occurred to me is the idea that, you know, like you were talking about how there's kind of these moral baseline type beliefs that people have, for example, like against the sexual exploitation of children. Everyone is, I would hope, against that, like as a baseline. If you see any cause kind of related issue, like protest or something, like let's say you see a protest for, we've talked about abortion so much. Let's just say it's try to think of something else. I don't know, pro-environmental stuff or whatever it might be, anti-circumcision or something. Like, we wouldn't go up to them and say, hey, like, you guys, we noticed that you guys aren't speaking up against sexual exploitation and trafficking of children. Like, we wouldn't go up to them and say, why aren't you speaking up against this? Instead, you're speaking up about the environment or abortion or the use of plastic in the ocean. I guess that's environment, but you know what I mean? Like, there's kind of this understanding that when you're talking about or advocating for a certain thing, that's literally what you're doing. And I think it's good for people to respect that at that time. I think, you know, if there's somebody who's attending a rally with the intention of kind of promoting something else, I think there is the potential for divisiveness there. And I think it is important also for the vegan movement to know what we have consensus on. It's so hard to have consensus and be like one strong unified movement when you've outreached a person and they see Dominion and they're like, wow, this is fucked. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with this anymore. And you're like, okay, great. Here's this card in case you want to watch The Best Speech You'll Ever Hear, or in case you want to learn about, you know, how to adopt a plant-based diet. Since you've understood the why, now here's the how. And then saying, by the way, like, these are the candidates who support all the issues that veganism aligns with, or something like that.
Yeah, like not even those issues. Like, oh yeah, here's a card about progressivism, and oh yeah, here's a card about you know, the man versus the bear, and the fucking and all this other issue, and transgenderism in the Olympics, and like, it's just kind of like, whoa, like, keep it simple. And like, yeah, like, look, if the movement had to only be if we were supposed to have a movement with people who agreed with everything, absolutely everything, the movement would only be one person big. Like, there's also been like this thing where like the intersectionals, they want to ban people who don't have the same political beliefs as them. Or, you know, if you believe this, you have an oppressive belief and you shouldn't be allowed to be here because like, look, whoa, we're not going to start banning people because they have different political beliefs. I understand that you're passionate about this with a political topic, but that's not what we're here for. And it's hypocritical and speciesist as well. Because,
yeah, I mean, like,
go on.
I'll take myself an example. I mean, I'm pro LGBTQ rights. Like, I support transgender people's rights to do what they feel is best for them. I support the rights of people who are homosexual or, you know, have differing sexual orientations to marry. I support the rights of women, you know, as compared to men, equality and racial equality. You know, environmental progress. I stand behind Palestine and their fight for liberation. I stand for all these issues, but when I am out advocating for non-human animals, which is my primary thing, you know, I'm an animal rights activist, animal liberation activist. That's what I talk to people about. Now, other people might bring stuff up and I might, you know, nod in agreement with something, but the moment that I'm spending time talking about a human related issue or a quote unquote political issue, something that's interhuman, where like one human is being oppressed or claiming to be oppressed at the hands of other humans or another human, I'm taking away at that point from what I'm there to do. And I'm taking away from what I believe, you know, is the most pressing moral emergency just because of how long it's been going on. But, you know, I try not to get into the whole like oppression Olympics thing too much when I talk about, you know, I try to avoid convincing people about how serious the animal rights issue is in terms of using like quote unquote oppression Olympics type things. You know, I don't want to, I don't want to say to somebody like, this is the longest going Holocaust, or this is what's happening to them is a lot worse and things like that, because you can get into things like sentience hierarchies and stuff like that. You can get into people talking about like, you know, wild animal suffering or crop deaths and stuff like that. It kind of opens a door that I'd rather not open.
I mean, yeah, you don't necessarily have to even believe it's the biggest. I mean, I believe it's the biggest because just by sheer numbers and by sheer lack of support and the amount of people who
that's a fact.
Are pro the issue. Yeah, like, well, you can't deny that. But look, let's just say that you don't even have to agree that this is the biggest issue. Like, look, we don't not care about human rights. Like, look, if someone's a vegan, but like they just go out on the weekend and like start, you know, and then like join the KKK while eating a tofu salad, like, look, that's obviously not good. Like, they're obviously still bad, right? Yeah, you know, like, and someone being a vegan activist doesn't justify them being in the KKK. Like, obviously, like, and same goes the other way around. Like, you know, if someone's like a human rights activist, but then they pay for animal oppression 3 times a day, that's obviously not good. Like, and if someone's a vegan and, you know, as long as someone's a vegan and as long as someone's not oppressing the non-human animals, I mean, you know, and as long as they're not oppressing humans either, look, that's fine. You know, you don't even have to be like specifically a vegan activist. Just do something to make the world a better place. I'd like more people to choose the animals, but if someone's just like a vegan, but like they spend all the time doing human rights activism, like, you know, water, like building wells for like kids in the third world country and building schools and all that, I'm not going to call you a horrible person for that, you know. Like, you know, if you care about human rights, you want to go to a gay rights march, fine, go to the gay rights march, right? What I have an issue is people hijacking the animal rights movement. That's what I have an issue with.
Yeah, I think it's sad that the non-human animals constantly kind of get thrown under the bus a lot of times. But, you know, I think it's also important for vegans to make inroads in other movements. And, you know, an example, for example, is that I had attended a women's rights march, and I had bought this stop sign, and I put a bumper sticker. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's this bumper sticker, like I think PETA sells it. It's a red one, and it says "Eating Animals." I guess it's not a bumper sticker technically; it's a sticker. But people have plastered it on stop signs, and it says like, you know, stop, and then like underneath you put a sign, you know, that blends in that says eating animals. So I got a handheld stop sign, something like a crossing guard might use, like a 2-sided metal, pretty legit stop sign. And I got one of those stickers and I put it on it. And I went to the women's rights march, and the sticker said drinking cow's milk on it. So I was there with, I believe I had some leaflets with me, and I talked to a whole bunch of different people who were there for a feminist march about veganism. And I was there not because I opposed the liberation or equal rights of women, but because I also wanted to bring to people's attention that, hey, cow's milk is enslaving cows. They're female. And I had some really good conversations. I had some of the best conversations. I think it's important as vegan activists that we figure out different ways to make bridges with different human rights related movements. Like, for example, I've attended a climate march, and this is, you know, these are things that I've done with other vegans. So, you know, I got together with other vegans for like the feminist thing, and we kind of had like the vegans showed up basically, you know, in different like animal rights related stuff, holding different signs that say, you know, like a cow's uterus is just as sacred to her as a woman's uterus, things like that. And we had a really good impact. I've done this where it comes to climate marches, and I found that the climate people were actually a lot less receptive. Like, they were more aggressive. They wanted to just have debates about statistics. And they wanted to just talk about like greenhouse gas emissions and cow farts and regenerative farming and that kind of stuff. But they weren't willing to address the ethical issue at all. And I think, you know, oh, what happened?
Yeah. Can you not hear me? I haven't.
One second. I'm sorry. Something just started playing on my. Oh,
I can't hear anything. It sounds fine.
1 second. Okay. I'm sorry. For some reason, my Apple Music app just opened, and it was playing this audio from some outreach that I'd done in the past. It was really weird. Okay, so I think it's important for us to wait. Is Kane frozen now? Oh wait, no, you're there. Okay.
Yeah.
So like building bridges is I think important with other movements. You know.
Yeah. So
like, hey, if you care about this, you should care about it happening to non-humans.
Yeah, so I guess it depends how you do it. Like with the climate thing, I mean, you know, that just goes back to the point we were making. Like, well, what if someone finds like an environmentally friendly way to abuse animals, like wearing fur or vivisection or something like this? But as for like the women's rights stuff, I guess it kind of depends how you do it. Like, you're not necessarily hijacking the event. See, here's the thing. Like, these people talking about consistent anti-oppression, most vegan activists don't abuse humans, but most human rights activists do abuse animals. They pay for the abuse of animals. So all these consistent anti-oppression people who want people banned from animal rights events because, oh, they don't believe we live in a patriarchy, oh, they have this view on Israel, and yeah, like they'll gladly go to like all these protests with like women's rights marches who oppress cows, pay for cows to be raped, which is like the most anti-feminist thing you can do on pretty much, like rape. Yeah, but I guess it depends how you do it. I mean,
if I could just pause you there real quick, because I think there's a really, really interesting underlying topic there, if that's all right. So what I was talking about earlier with like the idea of going up to somebody who's at a climate protest, for example, and trying to get them to end child sexual exploitation, for example, which, you know, is kind of like could fit under a category of just like moral baseline, you know, accepted evils. Like people would pretty unanimously agree. I would hope that that's evil. Kind of brings up the idea of if you're telling somebody at a climate related march or a feminism or anti-racism related march, if you're telling them, hey, you know, please consider not exploiting animals, that's something that they can easily do more than likely as part of their everyday life. Whereas, you know, if you're at a Cube of Truth, or if you're at a pro animal rights vegan event, and somebody comes up to you and gives you a pamphlet that says, you know, help end the sexual exploitation of minors, there's not so much that you can do. If you're already not part of that evil, there's not so much that you can do. Yeah, and
frozen again.
I think
is it frozen?
You froze for a sec, but I can still. Yeah, you're frozen now, but I can still hear you. Wait, now I can't. Hopefully, he'll be back in a sec. Lewis says, I've made specific posters connecting veganism with peace and taking this to anti-war rallies. I've generally gotten very positive reception. That's great. Yeah, I think that kind of like inroad building is really good. Let's see if Kane comes back here.
Oh yeah, right. We're back. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I could just kind of finish what I was saying. So your point about how I think you were alluding to this, is the idea of somebody coming to a vegan event and let's say they hand out like, you know, anti women's exploitation related things. I don't think that there would be vegans who would oppose like equality between the sexes. And I think that that's also a really good opportunity to talk to the person giving us that pamphlet about how they might be in a state of hypocrisy if they are participating in animal exploitation. You know, it's not just dairy, but like, you know, turkeys, pigs, those animals are like artificially inseminated as well. You know what I mean? It's kind of like this idea that I have this idea that I think veganism fights a lot of different types of oppression just by being vegan. You kind of like, you decide that you're not going to oppress other beings because of their size, shape, color, you know, how they look, essentially, what membership they have in different species groups. And I think that if somebody, you know, to kind of touch on what Gary Yourofsky has said for a long time, he said, you know, if you raise a child believing that, you know, this is a chicken, she looks different than us, but we still need to respect her right to life and, you know, morally consider her, how could that child grow up to then hate somebody because of, you know, the shape of their eyes or the color of their skin and things like that, you know, physical characteristics that are much more minute than species, which they have grown to respect and appreciate.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, you can make these kind of points, like these are points you can make. Yeah, like the main thing that was annoying me just generally is just people trying to like hijack animal rights events. Like, there's been people who like they claim, for example, they claim that like if there's so and so is allowed at animal rights events, like, you know, they'll be like quote unquote unsafe. Like if there's someone who doesn't believe we live in a patriarchy in the UK or something like that, they'll be like quote unquote unsafe. Yet like they fucking proudly go to Palestine protests where it's just any like random person. There's like any like there'll be like people who are like straight up homophobic, blatantly homophobic, sexist, misogynist, transphobic, all of that. They'll hold the animal rights movement to a much higher standard, right? They'll attack AV because, the poor Bashir gets paid this amount, but they won't attack Black Lives Matter for being paid way more and like buying mansions and like, I mean, there's a whole controversy around that. Let's not get into that. But they'll hold the animal rights groups to much higher standards of like this consistent anti-oppression. They'll act like some sort of hero because, yeah, you know, I took down that, you know, oppressive, you know, vegan who holds this oppressive view. They listen, you know what that vegan does, yeah? They listen to Ricky Gervais. Oh my gosh, they congratulated Ricky Gervais for like donating money, even though like Ricky Gervais like said something transphobic once. So we're gonna take down this animal rights log, but then they go to like a Palestine protest where there'll be just all types of just crazy wackos just rocking up. Like it's just, oh my god, like you got to understand with these people, they're just absolutely toxic, narcissistic. They're basically like led by like a group of narcissists, and then like a few people who are a bit more weak-minded and aren't very good at critical thinking just kind of join along because they think they have to say this and say that in order to be a good person. It's just an absolute shit show, man.
I think part of the dynamic that you talk about with people holding vegans to a higher standard is part of it is, I think, good and part of it's bad. I mean, for example, like if a group who was...
Are you frozen again?
Somehow, I think... Are you back? Yeah, you're back. Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm back, yeah.
So I think we see this idea of people holding vegans to a higher standard. We see that with non-vegans as well as vegans because, you'll have people who ask you, like you'll have non-vegans ask you, so do you step on insects? That kind of thing, or do you ever walk on grass, or do you have a cell phone? Do you check that your clothes was made without slave labor? That kind of stuff. Like you'll have those questions come up, and it's really just more of like a purity test.
Just like it's just speciesism. Like they'd never do this in like another movement. They wouldn't say, Martin Luther King, what are you doing for homophobia? Don't you know that the gay people don't you know that the gay people are being like fucking chemically castrated for being gay? Don't you know, Palestine protesters, that in the country you advocate for, gay people are being persecuted? They don't do that with any other cause. It's just a total... Even if the person that they're talking to, most of the people at these protests that they're going to, they aren't vegan. They're animal oppressors. They won't go. They'll tell you off for saying, hey, they need to stop this whole Eid halal slaughter over there. Oh, you shouldn't talk about that. That's victim blaming. You shouldn't call something murder because that's like, offensive or something. But we can say whatever we want about this human group. We can accuse Israel of genocide. But if you call the animal holocaust, that brings back trauma for the Jews. But we're allowed to say genocide, even though that might bring up trauma for the Jews. You see what the double standard is? You see,
I think we should always advocate for the non-human animals as vegan activists. Like we should always make sure that when we have the chance to defend them, we do it. And I think like I don't have a problem with vegan activists choosing to dissociate from other activists, like to say like I don't want to do activism, like you said, if there was a KKK member and they happen to
there's a line to be drawn.
But I think it's also, somebody can draw a line there and hold their like activism buddies to a standard, or kind of like think that their activism would be better done without that kind of vibe present. I'm totally fine with that. But I think if you're also at a, like, let's say a pro-Palestine like rally, and there's people around who, let's say, some of whom have homophobic beliefs, or some of whom, or maybe most of whom, even eat animals, I think you can be there just for the reason that you're there, and still not do something that's going to harm non-human, like the cause for non-human animals as well, as long as you're not making excuses to allow that animal oppression.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? These intersectionalists, they'll say, oh, we shouldn't have this person here because of like some, political disagreement. Maybe, the person, like shared this about Ricky Gervais going vegan, and like they'll say that they're like somehow unsafe. Like, look, obviously I agree that there should be some line to be drawn. Like, look, if someone is... if we find out that someone has a social media page where they have like a Ku Klux Klan outfit on, they're waving a Confederate flag around, they have a swastika tattoo to their face. Look, at that point, when it comes to a point where like we're like, oh shit, this person might be like a legit danger to like have here. Like, look, there's a line to be drawn there, right?
What about the aesthetic though? Like if somebody shows up with those kinds of symbols to, let's say, an animal rights event that you're hosting.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, exactly. Like, obviously, there should be a line drawn. Like, we don't want, like, if someone, like, goes online and says, oh, death to all gays, they should be stoned and burned. And look, I think at that point, like, yeah, we should ban them from the animal rights event. But here's the thing with these intersectionalists. There's going to be people like that at the fucking Palestine protest, but they'll still go to the Palestine protest, claim, like, they won't try and like act like a fucking hero by trying to like take down all those people at the Palestine protest. There's people at Palestine protests who will like beat up people at the gay pride parades. There's people who do all that. But yeah, these intersectionalists will still go to those Palestine protests, including transgender and gay ones. Gay intersectionalists. They'll go to those Palestine protests, but they'll drag a fucking vegan organization through the mud if there's someone there who, I don't know, says that like Britain's not a patriarchy or something. Like it's just, it's just a total. They don't hold it consistently. It's just more of a coordinated attack on the animal rights movement more than anything.
It's an interesting perspective. It's a very convoluted topic, but I think the kind of the best point of consensus I can reach is the idea that if somebody has oppressive kind of views toward other humans, we would prefer for them not to also be oppressing non-human animals.
Yeah. Like, look, if there's like someone who holds some political belief that you don't like, I mean, I'm talking about like just say like they're a Trump supporter or something. Like, yeah, look, I understand that people are passionate about politics and stuff like this, but just remember why we're here, right? We're here for the animals. Like, can you just? You don't even have to be friends with anyone. Like, can you not just, for the time being, while we're at the event, just put your political disagreements to one side and just think, look, the animals deserve something. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you get me? Like, there needs to be some sort of balance there. Like, we can't just be, like we got to remember why we're here. You know what I mean?
I think if there's an event, for example, that you attend, that's like a animal barbecue or something like that, and everybody is just out on the streets grilling up animals, you're going to be appalled by that, and the person with diametrically opposite political views is going to be appalled by that. You're both going to be appalled by that. That doesn't mean that you have to necessarily do activism together, but it does mean that, you know, as vegans, you have a responsibility to both be doing activism, I think. Like, not that
Yeah,
it's a
like,
moral obligation, but if you're both activists, like, and, you know, to kind of extrapolate from that example of this street where everybody's cooking animals, I mean, that's the reality. That's actually planet Earth. So if somebody's political views don't jive with yours, you don't have to even do activism together. You can do activism on your
yeah, I
own. You
mean,
know, there's so many things you can do.
yeah, it's just the amount of division that this stuff causes. It's like this kind of you could even argue that maybe it's like some fucking meat industry plants, right? They're just trying to they want all the vegan activists to argue with each other so that less vegan
I don't think
activism
so.
I mean, you could argue, like, I've noticed George Martin made this observation that the intersectionality stuff, it goes up, like, whenever there's the year of a US election. So, like, 2020, 2024, there's like a lot of intersectionality, but like in 2022, like there wasn't really that much of a problem. Like this only really became like a big problem again, like in late 2023, and then intersectionality this, intersectionality that, and maybe in a couple of years from now it'll go away. Then in 2028 it'll come back up. It was an interesting observation he made. You know, this stuff gets you know, way more heated whenever it's a US election. People get like all caught up with you know, American politics, and like they try and hijack the vegan movement with it.
Do you think that I've heard something similar from someone else about when there's more kind of like, for the lack of a better word, political discussions happening, that it tends to result in maybe more people going vegan, if I recall that correctly. But I don't know. It's like kind of like, it sounds like what you're saying is kind of like the pot gets stirred, kind of like when there's big elections happening. And I would think, you know, there's this quote about how when truth is challenged, truth prevails. You know, that challenging truth is actually a good thing.
I don't know. Like, I heard there was a lot of in 2020. There was a lot of animal rights organizations and even sanctuaries that were being pressured. Hey, you got to donate to Black Lives Matter. You got to donate to this. And then, you know, there was accusations that, you know, Black Lives Matter was like giving their money to like very sinister causes, and like none of these people ever apologized. Like, you know, when all the dust clears in like 2022, there was like this big anger. It was even like, it was barely on the news. Like there was this scandal of Black Lives Matter, the organization, like giving a lot of money to like nefarious schemes, but it wasn't very much like the intersectionalists who like bullied the animal rights movement into donating animal rights money to that they never apologized or anything. So like, yeah. I'm not sure if truth prevails. Like, it just seems like it just causes a lot of drama, a lot of problems, a lot of division. People leave activism because they claim they're like boycotting the activists, like the toxic activist groups, but like they're actually just selfish pieces of shit, and they're entitled, and they just care about making themselves look good and feel good. They just think they're better than everyone, so they just leave like a little brat, quit on the animals, and like yeah, man, it's not clear to me that this is doing any good. Like, our truth will prevail. Yeah.
Well, I guess one can hope, but you know, like you were saying earlier, we need more activists. We need more vegans to actually be speaking up about it. And it's, you know, it's important for everybody to find their own voice in terms of how they do activism. Like, you know, I'm not a disruptor kind of person. I've done disruptions before, but it doesn't.
Oh, you froze again.
I can see you just fine. Okay, you froze. So it seems like I freeze and then we lose Kane for a second. But hopefully he'll unfreeze. I'm feeling a little undercarbed. I probably got to go eat some bananas or something soon. Oh man, I'm out of bananas. I got to get some more bananas. Bananas are a great source of carbs, by the way. Cain, where art thou? All right, I'm hearing you. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. You tell me that I freeze, and I hear you tell me that I'm freezing, and then right when you tell me that, then I lose you for however long. While you were gone, I just said that I'm feeling a little bit like I got to probably get going and eat some bananas and stuff like that and carb up. But then I realized I'm out of bananas, so I got to go get some. But
okay.
But this has been a great talk.
Yeah, I think it's been a great chat. Like just generally, like just generally, like people just hijacking. It's just generally think about just people wouldn't want you to hijack the Black Lives Matter marches for white people. Like I mean, even if there was like some issue with white people in like some other country being like oppressed or something, like you wouldn't want the animal rights movement, you wouldn't want the Black Lives Matter march to be hijacked for that. So please don't do it for the animals. Like it just shows that animals are so oppressed that they're not even considered worthy enough victims to have their own cause. That's why that's part of the reason why it's annoying me so much lately.
Do you think that is there a, like when you're doing outreach and somebody talks about abortion, if they ask you about abortion or if they ask you what you're doing for a different cause, do you have kind of a go-to response? Like, do you tell them like, hey, I'm talking about...
one thing you could say is something like,
oh, we lost. Oh, wait.
Oh,
okay,
gosh.
you're back.
Yeah,
you're back.
So one thing you can say is something like, all right, so you see some sort of inconsistency. You see some sort of consistency between being pro-life and being vegan. In that case, if you're pro-life, I'm assuming you're also vegan, so you can also spin it back on them. But like, you can just be like, well, look, veganism doesn't, it doesn't require you to take. It doesn't tell you what stance to take on abortion. So like, go be a pro-life vegan then. Go, like, it's just generally you don't want to fall for these distractions. Like it's just a big,
you get called a hypocrite though.
Yeah, you get called a hypocrite. You just be like, all right, well, fine. If you're so passionately pro-life, okay, why are you a hypocrite for not being vegan? Be a passionate pro-life vegan. If that's a gap you see, why don't you fill that gap?
I think you really nailed it there when you with that last line about seeing the gap, because that's something I've told people before when they say like, I see all you vegans speaking up for these animals, but you never speak up when it comes to anti-racism or when it comes to all the babies being aborted. And it's a great answer to say, you can say, I am passionate about this cause if you are passionate about it. But at the same time, you can say, you know what, if that's your main thing that you're passionate about, then be that person, be that vegan. This is something that I use also with vegans or non-vegans who tell me like, vegans are extremists and are annoying and are too outspoken and are too kind of like alienating. I'll say, you can stop exploiting animals and then be that vegan. Be a pick-me vegan for all I care. Just stop.
I mean, I don't know about saying that, because then
I don't say that. I don't call them. I don't say be a pick-me, but you know what I'm saying. Like I'll basically say like be that soft vegan.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but like the saying, I mean, the whole thing about this, it's just like, that's like saying, look, I can't stop being racist because I'm too busy not being sexist as well. But like, that'd be
veganism
ridiculous,
is a non-action.
Veganism is a non-action. Like, but yeah, like most vegans are like are interested in human rights. Like, there's plenty of vegans who go to like Palestine marches and gay rights marches. I heard like the majority, like, no, well, maybe not the majority. Isn't like my friend told me that like 30% of like gay people are vegan. So like there'll be a lot of like vegans at gay rights marches and. I mean, well, I don't know. I haven't like verified that, but there are a lot of vegans who will like go to like gay rights marches and like Black Lives Matter marches, whatever the case may be.
Oh, we lost Kane again. Let it go, let it go. That's the only line I know from that song.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
back.
Yeah, like most vegans do that, so it's just flat out wrong. But yeah, like again, it just goes back to just not pandering. Keep in
Sorry,
mind
Kane.
the animals as well,
Could
their
you
own issue of
could you
injustice.
you might have you kind of just lost me on that point. You were saying that there are a lot of vegans who do go to like
Yeah, who do
pro-Palestine
go
and
to like pro-Palestine, pro-Israel as well, if that's where you politically stand on that issue. There's vegans who are, there's just all different types of vegans. There's vegans who are like pro-environmentalists. There's vegans who think that environmentalism's a lot of crap and climate change is just a big lie. There's vegans who are pro-Israel, vegans who are pro-Palestine. There's vegans who are just have all different types of political beliefs. And it's just inevitable that as the movement grows, there's just going to be a variety of political beliefs. And Roger Yates and all that, they keep talking about, the founders of the movement, they were all intersectional. I mean, like, bro, it's not a religion. We don't have to just blindly follow. I didn't become a vegan so I could blindly follow some guy. I became a vegan so I could actually do what's best for animals. And if what's best for animals is not being an intersectional, that is not being like this and trying to bring all this human rights stuff into the vegan movement, then we shouldn't bring all this human rights stuff into the vegan movement. I'm not just gonna if Donald Watson tells us to do something that's not good for the vegan movement, I'm not gonna do it. Like, simple as, like, you know what I mean?
I think it kind of comes down to just
yeah, go on.
Groovy ringtone.
Yeah.
Kind of like just the idea of almost like, marketing, like how you market veganism. And if you're able to convey the essence of veganism, truthfully, and convey to people that, no, this isn't an environmental cause. It's not about our health. It's about abolition of animal exploitation. And they're able to adopt those behaviors, then that's maybe even like the best thing that you can expect, if they're able to adopt it in spite of maybe not fitting like the typical mold of the associated political beliefs that most vegans would have, because then the ripple effect of that, it'll kind of like almost like if vegans are in an echo chamber and you're able to get somebody who's outside of that like mainstream bubble to adopt it, like if somebody like Donald Trump, for example, were to just one day wake up and be like, I've decided that I need to become a vegan. You know what I mean? Like, how many people would look into it? Probably a lot more people than would
like
consider it.
And yeah, like, look, I get that you might not agree with the political beliefs of the Trump supporters, but like, come on now, like, they're going to be Trump supporters whether they're vegan or not. Like, do you really want to just push away all those people from the vegan movement? You want to push away all that influence just because you don't like their political beliefs? That just seems like speciesism, because again, they wouldn't do that the other way around. They wouldn't say, oh, you can't be a pro-Palestine supporter if you're not vegan. Like, you know what I mean? It's just,
I've seen people say like, I hope Trump doesn't go vegan because like they said we don't want him. Like it's almost like it's a club.
The animals want him. I mean? Like, yeah, it's not.
And it's like, well, what about all those animals that he's going to kill and eat throughout his life? Like,
yeah, and
you really don't want those animals to be spared from that,
Yeah, yeah, and like, I know I said earlier that you can't persuade people to go vegan just by being likable, but like, imagine if he just becomes like an unapologetic vegan activist. Like, he has his reach. Like, he will piss off a lot of people, but he will also he has the reach that we just don't have. Like, like, I'm not like, we just don't have the reach that he has. Like, you don't see like any benefit to Donald Trump going vegan. Like, seriously, it's just,
I think anybody who says like that they wouldn't want Donald Trump to become vegan just simply like does not understand veganism, or is putting their quote unquote political activism before their veganism, basically.
Yeah, that's the thing with most of these intersectionals. Like, they just, and that's what happens when you try and, you know, smooth people into vegan activism because of benefits to them. They'll just become the most speciesist people in the movement. I think intersectionality also just, it attracts like just major narcissists. Like, yeah, I think, did I say this earlier? Yeah, it just attracts like major narcissists who don't actually care about making the world a better place. They don't care about whether, you know, people actually go vegan. They just want a way to morally grandstand over everyone. And if fewer people are vegan, that's more people that they can morally grandstand over. And if they become an intersectionalist, it gives them that dopamine hit, and it makes them look like a hero to all these other people. And yeah, they just care more. They just have more of a hero complex more than anything. I think that's the issue with a lot of them.
It's an interesting observation. All right, Kane. Well, I think we should probably start wrapping this convo up. But
yeah, we can.
It's been a really interesting talk. I think
Yeah,
at one point there were like 8 or so people watching, which is pretty good for you know my live stream viewership. So people,
yeah, cool.
I think
I'll share around the replay of this. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I think I think people
cool.
were kind of drawn in maybe by, you know, the passion that you were espousing your beliefs with. So
yeah,
I thank you for, you know, being able to share this time with me, and for being vegan, and you know, understanding what veganism is about. And I think you know, when we talk about, oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, can I say one more thing before we finish?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so there seems to be an attitude amongst most vegans that they kind of see these big activists such as Joey Carbstrong and Earthling Ed, and they're kind of they kind of think, oh, you know, these are going to be the heroes. They're going to destroy animal agriculture for us. Yeah, so I'll just stand there cheering from the sidelines. No, that's not how this works. We need all of us to work together and join together. Like, they can't do this on their own. Like, do what you can, right? Go join an Anonymous to the Voiceless, do a save movement, use your skills, make music, make art, make social media posts. Just do, if every single person who's a vegan now started, you know, doing activism, doing what they could, and you know, every person they turned vegan started doing what they could, you know, we'd reach a vegan world much quicker. But if we just leave it to these big activists who obviously do great work, if we just leave it to them, we're just never going to reach a vegan world. Just imagine, like, if they didn't exist, what would you do? You'd probably want to step up, hopefully. So that's what you should do now, right? We all need to do our thing. Haz is doing his thing. Appreciate him. People watching this are doing their things. I appreciate that. It's not about being famous. It's not about you. It's about defending animals the way you would want to be defended if you were in the victim's position. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, I think, you know, even whether we believe that truth prevails or not, I mean, it's liberation's not guaranteed. So if we sleep on it, then it's just going to be delayed.
Like, it's never going to happen if we don't get activism, if we don't get activists.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just, yeah, man. It's just.
So on that note,
people just don't stop thinking about veganism. Don't think that just because you can live easily as a vegan now, you know, the world's magically just going to change because of, like, vegan cupcakes being readily available. No, you change the world with strong messages for the animals that you don't compromise on. That's how you change the world. So,
and if you're gonna do cupcake activism, get out there and table and do it, and then deliver a strong animal rights message. Like, after somebody enjoys the cupcake, you can tell them, like, see, there's no need to exploit animals, you know, to enjoy a cupcake.
Yeah, like, just whatever you're doing, just don't be like a welfareist or a reducitarianism. Just or like, don't hijack the movement with like human rights shit. Don't lie, obviously. Like, don't say like things that are just flat out false. But yeah, but generally, look, I'll support whatever you want to do as long as you're making, you doing your thing for the animals. Like, it will be a level of respect I'm gonna have for you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's just what I'd say. It's just, yeah, just do something. Like,
Yeah, agreed.
you know, we can
And
talk
Kane,
about
do you
methods,
have
but
any do you have any plans for your channel in terms of activism or anything that you want to share, like, you know, things that people who are watching live or listen later might have to look forward to?
yeah, I've got a few videos recorded of like protests and like outreach, and a vigil from a while back with Joey Cobstrong in it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
You've met Joey before?
yeah, I met Joey Cobstrong a while back.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, you're frozen again.
Oh man, I lost for a minute here. Let's see. So thanks, Martin and Lewis, for still being here. You guys are troopers.
Yeah, you froze.
Okay.
The last thing I heard
You're
was
back.
you met Joey Cobstrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. A while back. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Don't just leave it to him to do all the activism. Do some yourself, everyone.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I was saying thanks to Lewis and Martin for sticking it through till the end, and thank you for everybody also who watches later. I know we got into some kind of hot topics, so if anybody has any comments about like intersectionality or anything that we talked about, put it in the comments below. Also subscribe to Kane. So his channel is up there, CDA Activism. And Kane, you can always reach out to me on Discord if you think about anything that you want to talk about or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it'd be great to you know, keep up with what you're doing, and you know, I plan on doing some more IRL activism myself. So you know, I'd be happy to also hear, like, you know, your comments and critiques and stuff like that. You know, when I post stuff.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Everyone go subscribe to Has Vegan, and yeah, he's got a really bass channel. Yeah, he's got some music out now, which is pretty cool. Yeah, he's got some outreach videos. Yeah,
I appreciate that, and hopefully there's more music to come.
Yeah, that's what I say. I don't know.
What is that?
Yeah.
What's
I don't know. Yeah, it's just
British
something
slang?
my family says. Nah, it's just something my family says.
Do you say if some food is gross, do you say it's minging?
Yeah, it's minging. Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Rank, it's minging, it's dang. There's a few slang terms.
Dang?
Dang. Like yeah, there's P-E-N-G and D-E-N-G. Peng is good and deng is bad. Yeah.
D-E-N-G. All right.
Yeah.
Is that just for food?
Oh no, just generally like gal as well, like girls. Like if a girl's good looking, she's peng. Or she's leng.
Wow. Lang is a good thing?
Yeah, peng and leng are good. Yeah, and deng is bad.
Martin says rank is the best. Yeah, I've heard rank for like if something smells bad, like it's like foul rank, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, rank.
You know, I love trying to use British slang, but I'm really like, it's hard for me to just naturally put it in. Like one day I was in the car with my partner, and there was like a certain route that we could have taken, like on the GPS. And she's like, it's telling you to take this route. And I had like a better idea of how to go. So I said, bugger that for a lark. Is that British?
Oh, there's like there's different parts of Britain, but let's just try and do your accent. Your Has Vegan. What state are you from, Has Vegan?
I don't sound like that, do I?
What state are you from?
I'm from Illinois.
Oh, you keep freezing. No.
Oh no.
What state are you from?
I'm from Illinois, actually. So
Illinois. I'm from Illinois.
Chicago.
And I'm a vegan, so we're talking with CDA Activism about activism.
That's pretty good. You got the A's down. There's a little bit of like, especially what I've noticed, people here in Chicago tend to have a little bit of like instead of, so I'll say, for example, for the fruit apple, that's how I'll say apple, but they'll say like apple. Like almost like there's a Y. Like it's like kind of a whiny like apple. That's how a lot of people here talk. But I'm from more downstate, so I don't have as much of that like Chicago to Canada type thing that you hear. A lot of people from like Wisconsin and the upper Midwest, they have that like apple kind of pronunciation. But anyway, We could spend all day talking about accents, but thanks everybody for watching, and thanks Kane for being here.
Hey, yeah, you
be
need
sure
one of them.
Subscribe to
you need
a jingle.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. That's what I say. You need one of them. What should we do for you?
Like a.
How's up?
I'll try to think of it. Maybe I'll come up with a little jingle or something. You know who does that stuff really well is Sky from Vegan of Course. Got his whole like production down. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Right. Thanks. You want to do your thing?
CTA.
Peace. Thank.
It's still live. It still says live at the top of the screen. It says live at the top of the screen. Are we still live? Why does it still say live at the top of the screen if we're... we're still live. Haz, come back. Haz, can you not still hear me? I'm taking over the stream now. He didn't stop the live stream. Hello, everyone. We got Luigito. We got Martin Kevin. We got Keystone Eon. Is the real thing gone? Let's see, participants. Yeah, Haz, I'm still here. You never ended the live stream. I'm here alone. Walk on. Oh my gosh. I kind of need the toilet. I just drank like a liter of juice. Oh my gosh. Yo, he's still here. Yo, he never ended the live stream. Oh my gosh. Does he know? Is he gonna come back? Yo, walk on, you lot. What do you think of the conversation? Oh man. Yo, what did you lot think of the conversation? Did you enjoy the conversation? Yeah, it says you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you. Yeah, I'm still live, Haz. I'm taking over your live stream. Oh my gosh, my webcam quality is shit. I need a new webcam. Holy fuck. Like, my mic stopped working. Like, oh god. I need... It's not the mic's fault. The mic got dropped, so it's not working anymore. I need it. This is such a good mic as well. It's that blue Snowball, even though it's white. Not the ice version, just a regular one with like different sound settings. But like, yeah, I need a new mic. I'm just using my webcam mic, so the sound quality is probably bad. But yeah, yeah, I hope this provides some clarity on my views on intersectionality. I mean, I guess one thing I was gonna say was yeah, like yeah, Roger Yates and Ronnie Lee, if they're watching this, like yeah, like they keep appealing to the fucking what Donald Watson and Leslie Cross said in like 1944 and 1952. Oh my gosh, vegan allies. Oh, that's the whole topic. Yeah, there's the whole thing about you know, oh well, the founders of the vegan movement wanted it to be radical. I mean, like, look, what if the founders of the vegan movement said the most effective way to be radical and the most effective way of turning people vegan is like to just fucking, I don't know, run around naked? Like, are you gonna do it? Like, no, we can disagree with them. We can, you know, learn shit. We can, like, you know, there's, upon further reflection, we can like change our views, you know, like it's not like this dogmatic cult, you know. Keystone Eon, CDA, what's your take on the idea of vegan allies? Oh my goodness, yeah. It's just another case of like I think we spoke sort of about this earlier. Like, yeah, if you tell someone it's okay to like not be vegan or to be like a reducitarian, they're just going to be comfortable not being vegan. They're just going to be comfortable being a reducitarian, and that's just going to be overall a negative. Yeah, they're just not going to take the issue as seriously. They're just going to be like, oh yeah, you can be on board with animal rights and still eat animals if you know, you're it's a way. Oh shit, my parents are trying to call me. Holy fuck. Yeah, it's just gonna make the whole vegan message just look a bit. Yeah, I've got a burner phone. Don't judge me, haha. But yeah, it's gonna make the whole idea of the message just look like a fucking mockery. I don't need these. My headphones are fucking broken as well. But yeah, it's gonna make the whole mess. It's not gonna make us look as serious. Like the whole thing with this reducitarian thing. We say, oh yeah, we're only going to eat animals on like a special occasion. But what happens? Parents, yeah, my parents, famous CDA activism's parents. But yeah, that's the whole thing. You know, once you start going for, you know, okay, I'm just gonna fucking, you know, eat animals a little bit. If you want to know what my ringtone is, that's W by Coffee KOFFEE. But yeah, about the reducitarian, once you start saying, you know, I'm only gonna eat animals on special occasions, right? They start by, like, I've seen like someone on a TED talk about, oh yeah, look at the amount of meals you have in a year. Like it's if we only have one meal that's not vegan. Okay, first of all, that's just assuming that veganism's a diet. Like, I mean, are they only eating animals? Are they going to wear animals? Are they going to go to SeaWorld? But let's just grant that the only thing they do is like eat non-vegan sometimes. I'm telling you, if they don't have like a moral principle down, that it's always wrong. They just end up with a mindset that the issue of animal oppression is an issue of scale. That's the message that you're portraying, that, you know, the animal rights issue, it's not an issue of you know, we view animals as resources and slaves. It's just an issue of the scale that we do it at. Same goes for this environmentalism, vegan for the environment stuff. This, and yeah, as well as like the special occasion stuff, it becomes like you know, I'll only eat animals on special occasions, which, you know, it'll go, oh yeah, I'll only eat animals on my birthday. I'll only eat animals on Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, Easter, 4th of July. Yeah, special occasions. And then special occasions turns to like, oh, my friend's birthday, my mum's birthday, my dad's birthday. Yeah, I'll buy someone an Easter egg that's not vegan. I'll eat someone's, and then that'll turn into, oh yeah, I'm at a party, and which, by the way, is the part where it's the time when it's most important to be vegan, by the way, because it shows that, you know, this shouldn't be something that should be socially acceptable. So yeah, yeah, you're not vegan when it's most important to show, when you're actually around people and you're actually influencing people. When you're not vegan, then that's the biggest problem. When you're not, like, you know, when you're not vegan, that's the worst time to not be vegan. Like, you should always be vegan, obviously, but like, especially, like, you can't just turn veganism on and off, obviously, but like, you know, say for example, like, yeah, those special occasions, that'll turn into, oh yeah, I got a promotion at work, so I'm gonna have a cake. Oh, you know, I've had a bad day at work, so I'm gonna eat a steak. Oh, it's the weekend, so I'm gonna have a milkshake. Oh, you know, it's gonna just turn into like this whole thing of and then before you know, it's just gonna be like, you know, you're just basically eating animals every day. Oh, I'm watching my favorite TV show, so I got you know, like, yeah. No, you don't. Like, you know, you just, if you start accepting people's excuses and start pandering to them, that's just gonna lead to just horrible shit. Like, we're not here to be politicians. We're here to actually like stick to the message. And then people take, like, here's what I should have said, right? people like Tash Peterson, Joey Carbstrong, like even the staunchest anti-vegans like Isaac Butterfield, like I've even heard them say, look, I like him and his friend, like I've even heard them admit, like, look, even though I don't like Tash Peterson, like I do respect these militant vegans because they don't care about being liked. They're not just sitting around like complaining and whinging about all the problems in the world. They're actually doing something about it. They don't care about being liked. You know, you got all these YouTubers who pretend, oh, I don't care about the haters. But these are the people, the vegan teacher, all these people, these are the people who actually are, these are the people who are actually fucking, they don't care about being liked. They just care about the message that they're portraying. That's what people respect, whether they want to admit it or not. People respect that. Yeah, when I've seen like animal rights logs, when they like start to pander, like you know, it doesn't work. They're just like, oh yeah, you know, oh shit, we're doing this extreme militant thing, right? So, you know, in order to like not get as much backlash, we should just throw a load of pink around and sing instead of chant. And like, no, it's just gonna make you look like you're just trying to pander and just trying to like soften the blow when you're scared of shit, like you're scared of criticism, which people will lose respect for that. People can see right through it. It's not good. Whereas, like, if you just, and besides, like, look, who are you gonna try and when you're gonna pander? Like, who are you gonna pander to? Like, yeah, some people might like all the pink and the singing, like some hippie people might, but a lot of people are just gonna think that's a lot of weird shit. Like, why are you trying to become like a hippie and shit? Like, if I go vegan, am I gonna have to turn into a hippie? If I want to be an activist, do I have to turn into a hippie? Like, it's just not gonna work. Like, whereas if you just be yourself and you just speak from the heart, you're gonna attract the right people. And even the people who aren't like you, they're all gonna be like, okay, look, they're just being themselves because that's the type of person they're gonna be. I can go there and I can be myself. And you know, you're gonna have like a diversity of personality. Like, you know, that's also another thing. Like, these groups, these animal rights groups, rightfully so, they'll care about like diversity of like racial diversity and ethnicity and like LGBT diversity and all these other types of diversities. But another type of diversity that I think is overlooked is you could argue like diversity, yeah, be yourself in every aspect. Like also like diversity of personality, like that's another big type of diversity that's overlooked, because like we spoke about this earlier, like, you know, if you have to try and change yourself, people are going to see through that, and it's going to be like, oh, these people just want us all. They're not actually speaking from the heart. They just want everyone to be like them, just for the sake of everyone being like them. And that undermines the message. Like, you just come across like you just want everyone to be like you. Whereas if you just be yourself and your organization allows people to be themselves, that shows people, okay, these people don't just want everyone to be like themselves. There's hippie vegans, there's hardcore vegans, like there's vegans of different personalities. That just shows, okay, these people just care about the animals. That's what I'm talking about. They just want animals to not be abused. That's why they're doing this. They're not just ego driven and want everyone to be like them. And that's the thing with certain animal rights logs. Like, you know, if you're like constantly making media, you know, you don't want to just have everyone who like handles the media appearances to all be the same. Like, you also want them all, you want like a variety of different personalities. So like a different person can handle like a different interviewer. And also like, even if you can't do that, even if you have to have them spread out so that one can go to this studio here, another can go to that studio there. If that's what you want, like, look, it's still beneficial to have just everyone be themselves for reasons I've already mentioned. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I wonder if Has Vegan is going to come back and stop the live stream. Does he realize that this is still going? Yeah, pirate live stream. Oh my gosh, we're not supposed to be saying all this. Am I allowed to invite other people onto the live stream? Oh my gosh, because there's people messaging me on here, kind of like they seem like, oh gosh, they seem like they have their 2 cents. Have you let me just ask them, are you watching? Oh my gosh, well, I'm learning, this is a streamer life. I guess I'm vegan gaze. Should I put on the vegan gaze wig? Okay, all right, vegan gaze, if you're watching this, I'm gonna do an impression of you. Here we go, I'm getting this wig and these glasses. They don't look like Ellie's glasses, but everyone go subscribe to Vegan Gaze. Where are the glasses? Holy shit, they're somewhere around here. Okay, I've been working on my Vegan Gaze impression. Okay, you know, okay, everyone subscribe to @Vegan Gaze, @BEGANGAZE or ZE as you say in America. Okay, shit. Whoa. She has bigger glasses than this. I basically see, basically Elle is like, she's always felt like kind of like a mentor. This hasn't been formalized, but I really appreciate her as an activist. I almost missed this live stream with Has Vegan and CDA Activism, and I was very curious about whether he'd be doing an impression of me. As you can see, I have a tattoo over here saying vehemence, because I cannot pronounce the word vehemence. At least you have the same accent. No, we don't. Oh my gosh. Look, this next line, I'm not making fun of her for being a lesbian. I'm making fun of her for the way she says the word closet. I am now out of the closet. Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, we don't have the same accent. She's from like a different part of the country from me. Yeah, it's like Britain's like only small, but it's got like a wide variety of accents. You got like the Cliff Grant Irish accent. You got like the Perspective Philosophy Newcastle accent. You got like the Liverpool accent, the Grumpy Vegan Grandad Manchester accent. You got like, oh yeah, you know, you got the Vegan Mooncat with like the Liverpool accent. I think he's from Liverpool or like Blackpool or something. Then you got like the Southerner accent. You got like the Carnism Debunked accent. You got like the, I think most vegans in the UK are from the South. I'm pretty sure I heard some statistic. Yeah, you got like the Mel and Steve type accent. You got the David Rams type accent. Yeah, there's a variety. Yeah, I should comb that wig at some point. I don't have a comb for this hair type though, so I don't know how to do that. This is what a comb looks like for my hair type. It's just not gonna work. Yeah, you're from London, but you live in Spain. Cool. Yeah, I heard like some big study that like in 2023 there was like 1 million more vegans in the UK, which is like I believe that's like if it's like what is it, like 67 million people in the UK? What is that like oh gosh, these glasses are making it hard for me to see. What is like, oh my gosh, I haven't done maths in years. Usually I would have been able to figure this out in my head. So what, 67 million people divided by 1 million people. Yeah, so that's like 1 divided by 67 it is, right? Yeah, so that's like 1.4925. Yeah, like what is it, like 1.5% more vegans. Yeah, look, I hope that these are like actual animal rights vegans and not these like flaky vegans who just like quit activism, because like, yeah, you know, you got the whole thing about, oh, you know, so and so percent quit, Activism, yeah. Quit veganism, yeah. Like, look, they just weren't in it for the animals, were they? They were just like these plant-based people who were just gonna quit on the animals. Yeah, they just never cared about the animals to begin with, so they'll just quit activism for like whatever dumb reason. Oh my gosh. Oh shit. I feel like I'm a streamer now. I can say whatever I want. Nobody can tell me not to. Oh my gosh, lab grown meat. That's a whole another rabbit hole. Should we go down the lab grown meat route, or should we just keep it on topic about talking about, you know, activism, like specifically how vegans should be advocating? Oh shit, like this is a complicated topic. I really need a piss. Like, when is Haz gonna come back and just say, oh, Kane, no more? Is someone gonna tell him, right? Is someone gonna tell him that I'm just totally hijacking his live stream? Oh man. Like, I just get to say whatever I want. I could totally get him cancelled right now, but I don't, because I'm a good person. Oh my gosh. Should we start the lab grown meat argument? You know, like, another thing about the intersectionality stuff, it just causes like a lot of unnecessary infighting. Like, look, I'd rather like argue about how vegans fight over like lab grown meat and killing predators and all that, because at least that's animal rights related. It's better than arguing about fucking transgender people in the Olympics, which just has nothing to do with animal rights. You know, it's just totally just crazy. Like, oh my god. Is this going to be a long boy live stream? 3 hours is a long boy. I miss back in the day with vegan gays when it was like I'd wake up, she'd already be live. I'd go to college, she'd still be live. I'd come back home from college and there's like, she'd say she's leaving soon, but then like she'll stay live for like 2 more hours. I miss the good old days of vegan gays, when like a fucking 5-hour live stream would have been considered a short live stream. Oh my gosh. But yeah, she's doing other stuff. She's with Vegan FTA, which Vegan FTA is like a legitimate animal rights org that I have a lot of respect for. Yeah, holy shit, but lab grown meat, ooh. That was a big debate about that on Corners and Debunks live stream. Yeah, shit. Oh gosh. Should I start a big fight about lab grown meat with the 2 people who are still watching? It says participants has vegan Keystone Eon, Martin Kevin. I don't know if he's still there. Yo, shit. Okay, look. People are sending me voice notes on WhatsApp. Yo, Kieran, I'm still live. I'm sure Kieran wouldn't mind me mentioning his name. Yo, Kieran, I'm still live. If you want me to listen to these voice messages, you gotta fucking type them. But yeah. Holy fuck, where is Haz Vegan? Did he actually go to the shop to get some bananas? Like, is he actually away from his computer? He never ended the live stream. I'm bursting for a piss. Should I just piss right where I'm sitting? Should I just piss on my chair? Actually, I need to, Yo, shit. Like, yo, I never ate my porridge earlier. Holy fuck, I just ate my cookies. Like, I just eaten too much sugar. I need to eat something savory. Yeah, I ate like some, I got some porridge with like some Asda vegan, all my vegan chocolate spread, which was amazing. On some vegan cookies. They're a little bit past the best before date, but it's only like 3 days, so whatever, it's all good. Yo, Kieran, what part of don't send voice messages? I can't hear them. You got to type, do you not understand? Shout louder, he can't hear you, lol. Holy shit. I need to bring this. I'm not actually allowed to eat in my room, you know. My parents are fucking mad. I need to bring this downstairs and put it in the fridge. But yeah, I don't fucking know when my parents are coming home exactly. They've been gone since like yesterday. They went away to like fucking far away. Shit, I am bursting for a fucking piss. Bro, I sent him the fucking link to this live stream. Like, why is he not fucking? Yeah, he's busy violating banana rights. # banana lives matter. Like, imagine it's not in any other context. Like, bananas are fucking you're against fucking what happens to children in this war. Well, what about the bananas in the war? God damn, don't you know that if we don't start this war, all these bananas' rights will be violated? Like, God damn. Yo, Wagwan Ritze. yo, you will, if you spam the chat, you better hope he doesn't have any bots to like ban the yos. I'm just waiting. Just has vegan not realized I'm still here? Like, I'm doing impression. Should I do an impression of him? My name is Has Vegan. I'm from Illinois and I'm a vegan. And then, oh my gosh, holy shit. When is he gonna realize? I really need a piss. Oh my god, holy shit. Bro, check me out. Yeah, I went to National Animal Rights Day. My parents only sometimes let me go to like fucking animal rights events because they're fucking annoying. Oh my god. Yo, shit, I need to tell people to come and watch. Holy fuck, I need a fucking piss. Come and watch. Who should I send this to? Yeah, I got a lot of the vegan activists on WhatsApp. Come and watch. Holy shit. Annoying is one word for them. Wait, who's annoying again? Who's annoying? I forgot who we were talking about. But oh shit, I'm back. Okay. Yo, I feel like vegan gays now. Oh my gosh, I got my own live stream. I didn't even have to like set it up or anything. I got my own live stream. Yeah, he just left without realizing that the live stream is still on. Oh, my parents. Yeah, my parents are annoying. Yeah, fucking. I don't know when they're coming back home, but fuck, I am bursting for a piss. Oh my god. Shit, I dropped my cup. I had some juice. Oh god, shit. Oh. I should have invited a gal over. You know what I should do to annoy my parents? I should specifically find a gal who was born on the 6th of June 2006. So then her birthday is 666. So yeah, my parents will think I'm like some devil worshipper. I should date like some Satanist goth girl born on the 6th of June 2006. Oh my god. I just saw a headline today about scientists putting forth the proposition that other animals have consciousness, not just sentient consciousness. I wonder if a cow was conscious. I had a debate with some prick on Discord who didn't think that cows were conscious. Like, look, they said cows aren't sentient. I'm like, look, that's just idiotic. I don't think people really believe that. I think they're just trying to justify. I don't know if they really. I don't think they really believe that. They're just trying to justify their bad behavior, like Destiny or some mad shit. You know, Destiny, that prick. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god, that fucking scumbag. All right, fuck. Is there anything else? Ask me some questions on topic about the effectiveness of vegan activism. Ask me some questions about that. Ask me some questions. Yeah, I'm black, so I got to say ask instead of ask. Yo, I got to suck my teeth like this. Yeah, fuck. Ask me some questions. Ask me some questions. Distract me from the fact that I need a piss. Come on, walk on, you lot. Yo. Oh my god. Should I like say something controversial that'll get us all cancelled? Oh my gosh. Oh man. Should I say let's talk about, you know what will cause no infighting in the vegan movement? Talking about politics. Yeah. Who are you gonna vote for in the election? Who are you Israel, Palestine? Oh my god, like, do they think that this is gonna cause unity in the vegan movement? Like, it's just absolutely insane. Like yeah, like people like Roger Yates and that. They just want kind of it seems like, what is their goal? Like, to be as radical as possible or to be effective for the animals? Like, yeah, again, like, look, running around naked is very radical, but is it effective for the animals? That should be the fucking question. You know, what's your opinion on using tactics like dog meat to show speciesism? I wish I could click the comments and put them up on screen. But like, yeah, it kind of goes back to what we were saying at the start. Like, you know, like, yeah, there's like multiple different variables to consider. Yeah, I personally think the dog meat one is better than the Hugh milk one. Like, yeah. Oh, people are watching Euros. Oh, George, you'd rather watch I'm gonna name and shame you, haha, because I'm still live and I'm sending this voice note and people can hear you. Oh, you're watching the Euros. Oh, haha. You're missing the live stream, all the fun we're having. But yeah, the dog meat one is better than like the human milk one, because generally, like, the human milk one, the Hugh milk, is generally done with like the intention of saying that, you know, it's ethical. Like you know, these women were consenting to give the milk, and this Hugh meat, this was a consenting human donor meat where like the human consented to having their meat being used after they die of natural causes, which kind of defeats the fucking purpose. Like, you know, if you have you know, at that point, like, you know, it's not really a moral issue, like drinking milk from a consenting person, or like consensual cannibalism. Yeah, it's not really a moral issue at that point. Is it? Like, it's more of a fucking, yeah. Wait, let me just tell George. Yo, we're shitting on intersectionality. You just missed me just shitting all over intersectionality, which is your favorite topic, Mr. George Martin. Oh my gosh. Yeah, George Martin is a base activist. He cares about the animals. He's probably watching, really. He's just joking. Yeah, he's just at work. I'm just kidding. He's at work. He's too busy. But yeah, yeah, like the human milk thing, it's more of just like a gross thing. So it doesn't really persuade people to like take the moral issue seriously of animal rights. It's not really like, yeah, yeah. Oh, George Martin wants me to go on stream with him. Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, but like, yeah, you're trying to like draw an animal rights message from like some, that's kind of gross message, which is a big problem. Well, it's not like a problem, but it's just kind of like, I just don't view it as effective. So yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, you know. But the dog meat thing, yeah, that is like a moral issue, like murdering dogs, you know, hashtag Elwood dog meat kind of thing. That's like an actual moral issue. You would eat human milk ice cream. I mean, I personally wouldn't. I think that's a bit gross. But I mean, if that's a consenting human, I mean, it's not really a moral issue. See, that's the thing. Like, even vegans like wouldn't really have a moral issue with that. So why would like a non-vegan have an issue with that? Like, it's just. I mean, that's just my opinion, though. I mean, we can just speculate. Yeah. You know, there's also like there's also like these issues of like you know, people advocating for like system change, which is a thing. Like, look, we need like all different types of activism. People advocating for system change, people advocating for individualized change. Yeah, just as long as one's not shitting on the other. I do think that there's some vegans who like focus too much, like they promote one as so important, like to a point where the other doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to mention any names here, but like there's some that like even like ones who have been vegan for a long time, like they kind of just promote like, you know, system change. Oh yeah, system change. Yeah, like sure, it's important, but there's also like individual change that's important. Like, look, you've been vegan for a long time, presumably for some good reason. Like, don't you think these reasons matter? Like, you know, it's just like, yeah, you can talk about which one's more effective, but like that doesn't mean the other one doesn't matter. Like, you know, and like these same people, they're like intersectionalists who want to like dilute the message with like some human political issue, which just doesn't make any sense. So, oh yeah, holy shit, I've been talking for 3 hours. I am bursting for a piss. You lot are probably going to be in the chat now saying drip, drop, drip, drop, drip, drop. So I probably shouldn't have said that, should I? Holy shit, when is Has Vegan going to come and like end the live stream? When did it end? Like more than half an hour ago. Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh man, I wish I had an empty house more often so I could live stream more often because this is quite fun. I don't have a be right back screen. Oh my god. Martin Kevin's back, Wagwan. I don't anticipate change coming from the top down Instagram. It needs a bit of both. Because like you need the educational campaigns and like look, if more people are vegan, like just you know that you know that'll you know like look, if nobody's a vegan, like here's the thing, like people it's just a blame game. Like, you know, corporations will say, oh, you know, people say, oh, you should focus on the corporations. Yeah, the system change the system. But then the system will go, oh, yeah, well, you know, we just provide what people want. You don't want to, we shouldn't be controlling what the people want. And then, you know, we go back to the people like, oh, yeah, focus on the corporations. Don't hold us accountable. It's just, you know, you're both responsible. Like, holy shit. Like, it's just like this weird false dichotomy of one or the other. Yeah, put myself on mute and piss in the piss jug. I genuinely need a piss. Oh my god. But like, yeah, it's like, it's weird. Like a lot of these carnists, when they say system change, like, look, at least when the vegans say system change, like at least you can say, okay, look, you've done this thing for the animals. Like, holy shit, I need to bring this porridge down. Like, I will be back. All right, I'll be back in like 1 minute. Try and jump on in a bit. Okay. Well, it's ending soon, so you better hurry up. Yeah, but what I was saying, like, yeah, a lot of the time when vegans say, "Oh, system change," at least they're actually going to like system change protests. But like when non-vegans say, you just know they're full of shit. Like you want, like the Grand National Protest, for example, Animal Rising. As far as I'm aware, even like I'm not even just talking about the people who ran onto the tracks, like even the people who were doing like who were protesting legally outside the front gates, like they were all vegan. Like where are all these non-vegans who are supposedly on board with us? Like where are they all? Like they say, oh yeah, well we should fight for system change. Like okay, so why are you not fighting for system change then? Yeah, I've been fighting solo from for 40 minutes. That's vegans channel. Like it's not like they're not here. Like where are you all? Like it's only, I think being vegan, it shows that you actually care, and it'll make you be taken more seriously. Because like, look, how are you gonna be taken seriously if like you can't even fucking like you want the fucking the government to do all these things, but they're not going to take you seriously if you're not even willing to change what you eat for fucking breakfast. And yeah, like, look, it's very rare that you're going to find, like, I've seen, like, certain animal rights marches, like, saying, oh, well, we should allow non-vegans. Like, no, like, they're not going to come. It's just going to make us, like, there's going to be, like, one non-vegan, probably. Because, like, look, how many people who are even willing to change what they put in their cereal are going to actually want to come and do, like, some proper animal rights activism? Like, none. Because proper animal rights activism, it takes effort. Like, it takes effort. Being vegan in this, especially in this country, in this day and age, is fucking easy. Vegan options everywhere. So easy to be vegan in this day and age. If you're not even going to do that, how the hell are you going to expect these people to do vegan activism? Like, they just won't. Like, and then, yeah, like, say we have them at an animal rights march and someone stops them to say, hey, well, what are you here to protest about? Oh, yeah, well, they're just not going to understand the message. They're just going to be there saying, oh, yeah, well, I think that they need to treat the animals better. They're going to have, like, some proper counterproductive message, aren't they? Like, it's just going to be... holy shit, I desperately need a piss. It's going to be like some counterproductive message. We're not going to be taken seriously. It's quality over quantity as well. Like, I just don't agree with having non-vegans that, like, Cubes of Truth, National Animal Rights March, like, a particular animal rights group was wanting in the UK last year. System change didn't work for prohibition. Yeah, the population didn't support it. Like, yeah, like if the government just suddenly says tomorrow, hey, we're back, right. System change. We're banning animal agriculture. We're banning animal clothing, animal testing. Everyone's got to go vegan. This is going to be uproar, isn't they? Like, we need a cultural shift. And how is there going to be a cultural shift if there's not more vegans? It's just impossible. Like, you might get people paying lip service, but that's not going to spread the message, is it? Like, it's going to get a lot of, oh, yeah, if you want to be vegan, but don't force people. If you want to be vegan, but don't force everyone to change. Like, it's not going to work. Like, you got to put the like Keystone Eon said, if you put the shareholder profits in danger, then you will see change. The corporations will drag out litigation, fighting any mandated change. The courts would most likely support the corporation. Yeah, like, we've got to make eating animals socially unacceptable. Like, you just got to. Like, otherwise, it's just fundamentally... Like, that's what has to happen. Like, look, the reason why racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia and shit's gone down over the last 100 years. Like, look, it still exists, obviously, but, like, it's certainly gone down. And the reason for that is because, it's socially unacceptable. Like, look, if someone just goes on the fucking TV... Look, here's the thing, right? if the police were to murder a cow, like they tried to run one over and they knew recently in London, you know, they'll get a few news stories, but like for the most part, it just won't go very far. But like, look, what's just let's be real, right? What's gonna cause more uproar? Yeah, it may even boil down to a freedom of speech argument. Like, yeah, like what's gonna cause more uproar out of me being murdered by police, by racist police? Like it was proven that it was racism. What's going to cause more uproar out of that and a cow being murdered by speciesist police? What's going to cause more uproar? Obviously, like it's because one's not as socially acceptable anymore. That's what's going to happen, right? And how are we going to change that? Like, you know, we get a lot of people paying lip service, but look, that's just not going to work. Like, you know, people aren't going to. When you're a vegan and you're actually like living, you know, what you preach, like it's going to take more people are going to take the message more seriously. Like this is just something that people are willing to change their behavior over. So, you know, and it's a good conversation starter. Like it'll just spread more. So like, yeah, you know, we need a combination of both. Like, yeah, I'm lucky if there's a lot of like. Because here's the thing, I'm a bit more optimistic about the world going vegan at some point in the next few decades. Because, like, look, most vegans are probably gonna have babies and shit. Like I know vegans who like have children, like little babies, and like you know, vegans who did activism in like 2016, like they've got like 6-7-year-old babies now. Imagine if there's like several 6 or 7-year-old vegans in the like look, because in the UK, like look, you're in a fucking, you know, if there's like several vegans who you're going to school with, right, they'll all be fucking together for 13 years in school. Infant school, junior school, secondary school, fucking sixth form. And like, look, that's going to turn some of the people vegan, like eventually. Like, look, that's 13 years is plenty of time for the sleeper effect to take place. Some of them will go vegan and then it'll just spread. And like, you know, like even like the high school kids now, like in 20 years' time, let's just say, look, as long as we all get active right now, and you know, we target all the kids' phones with like TikToks and reels and shorts and all that, and you know, they all come across like vegan protests, and you know, there's like this sleeper effect happening, and you know, they'll all fucking grow up. And 20 years from now, they'll have kids in primary school. And the kids who are in primary school now, they'll all be grown up. And, you know, like that, like the cool people that they'll look up to, they all went vegan when they were in school based on like some other kids who had vegan parents. And then they'll look up the kids who are in primary school 20 years from now, they'll all be on their phones or whatever technology they'll have in 20 years from now, who knows? They'll all be influenced by that. And like, you know, by the time they become adults, like 40 years from now, it'll just be like, you know, it'll be so much of just a social norm that like, look, in 40 years from now, most of these like old anti-vegans are going to be fucking dead, right? Let's just be honest. Like, look, they're not going to be alive anymore. So then, yeah, it'll just become like this, ew, like these old people, they like ate animals. And then like people my age, I'll be like 60 and I'll be like, yeah, look, I'm ashamed of what I did when I was young. But like I became a vegan activist when I learned the truth. And, you know, I mean, I guess, like I've renounced what I've done. And the people now who are my age, who are like anti-vegan, they'll have to like be proper ashamed of themselves. And look, if it's like just once that starts happening and it just becomes so socially unacceptable, like of course there's going to be like some system change that's going to
bring animals' rights. Like, yeah, sure. Like, even now, there's like people who do horrible shit to humans. There's people who commit rapes and shit, but it's like very socially unacceptable, and it's illegal, and like it's just like this horrible thing that nobody's gonna want to be proud of. Like, if you're a rapist, you're gonna want to keep it secret, and like, you know, it's gonna be totally socially unacceptable. So yeah, that's, and then yeah, like 10 years from then, like, look, of course it'll be illegal. Like so yeah, I believe we can definitely achieve animal rights in the next 50 years if we all put the work in and become activists and stay active. And then, you know, if a country like the UK goes vegan, like the other countries will, like in the Western world, will follow suit. There's like certain countries that are like just very morally regressive that might not go vegan just because of that. Like, there's still countries in the world where like women are like property, and like, you know, gays are like fucking executed, just shit that we all view to be just like archaic and horrible. Yeah, I don't know about them. Like, they'll be like trailing behind, but you know, maybe there'll be like some big war that'll happen that'll like give animals rights and give humans rights over there. Like, yeah, yeah, it's just gonna, yeah, I do think that like there's a big snowball effect. It's called the lily pad effect, or like, yeah, basically it goes, there's a lily pad in a lake. After 20 days, it fills the lake. The lily pad doubles in size every day. After 20 days, the lily pad fills the lake. After how many days does the lily pad half fill the lake? A lot of people just go, oh, 10 days. No. The lily pad half fills the lake after 19 days, because after every day, I promise I'm going somewhere with this, after every day, the lily pad doubles in size so that, you know, it'll eventually become big enough. Yeah, the lily pad doubles in size. It's an exponential growth. That's what's going to happen with veganism. It's going to exponentially grow, not linearly grow. So, like, yeah, it'll just be like, you know, it'll start slowly, like the lily pad would, but then eventually it just goes, whoop. So, yeah, it just shoots up. So, yeah, I think there's, like, a cognitive problem with humans that, like, just might struggle to conceptualize this. But, yeah, I do think that this will happen a lot quicker. Like, here's the thing, like, just imagine if every vegan, like, this won't happen. Like, it won't happen this quickly because most vegans just stuck on the arse and just won't get active, which is annoying. But, like, yeah, like, imagine if 1% of people were vegans and, like, every year from now on, like, you know, fucking every vegan just turns, like, one other person vegan. Like, it'll only take, like, 7 years for the whole world to go vegan. I mean, yeah, if 1% of people are vegan and each vegan turns one person vegan every year. But, yeah, I mean, that's not clear that's going to happen, though. But, yeah, I do think that, like, look, as, you know, generations grow up and, like, generations change, I do think definitely, yeah, the world probably will go vegan. Certainly, like, for like animal rights, like, yeah, I guess vegan world would mean like there's not a single non-vegan. I mean, look, there's still people who abuse humans, so there'll probably still be people who abuse animals. But in terms of like animal rights, I certainly think we can achieve that in the next half century. Human rights worldwide, we can probably achieve that in the next half century. Animal rights worldwide, probably in the next century. So yeah, I do think that'll happen. I mean, I know a lot of people say, oh, it's going to have to happen very quickly because of the environment, but like, look, there's environmentally friendly ways of abusing animals. Like, eggs are more environmentally friendly than like cow flesh. So like, you know, there could probably be like a big push to like, you know, eat more chickens and more eggs. So then, yeah, you know, that's not good, obviously. But yeah, I do think in the next century, if we all start putting the work in the next century, we can achieve animal liberation, animal rights worldwide. Good point. It may even boil down to unless a politician's constitute supports the idea, they will be committing political suicide to force the issue of animals. Yeah, like look, they're not going to be elected. Like look, if we're like this big political party that's going to mandate veganism and mandate animal rights, like look, it's just not going to get elected. Constituents, politicians' constituency doesn't support the idea a politician will be committing political suicide to support animal rights. Yeah, we need to change the social perceptions. And look, you're not going to do that with a lot of people paying lip service. Like, people are going to actually have to act on those beliefs in order to be taken seriously. I'm Keynotig. I never stopped the live stream. I've just been on my own for the last hour. Oh man, where has he gone? It's good to get a lot of this stuff off my chest. Like, I think about this kind of stuff a lot. I talk about it with my friends a lot. This should be a very good listen. Holy shit, when is he gonna come back and end the live stream? Yes, has vegan. You just realized you never ended the stream. I'm having a great time here. Yeah, where'd you go? I've been alone for an hour. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Yeah. Gosh, he's working on it. I'm having a good time. It's no problem. Can keep it going if you want. Oh my god. This is the kind of stuff I think about. You lot can DM me. I do enjoy having this conversation. If you want to have these conversations with me, I do enjoy having these conversations. I'm very passionate about this topic. Yeah, irreparable damage has resulted. Yeah, we've got you cancelled, has the shit I've been saying. Oh my god. DM me on like Instagram. My handle's the same. DM me like Instagram, Twitter, maybe even like TikTok, or Discord. We can talk. We can start a conversation about this stuff. If you lot have YouTube channels, I'll happily go on yours as well. It's a big conversation to be had. We just need to change the social perceptions and the system. It's just this false dichotomy that a lot of people seem to have, and they say, we won't achieve animal liberation with only outreach and only education-based activism and only debates and only just this educational-based activism. Therefore, we should only do the system change stuff. No, it's not going to work like that. No, people have got, look, we can talk about, the issues that people have. Carnism and the brainwashing, it affects us all. But look, there's got to be a point where, look, you know better now. You're an adult. It's time for you to take responsibility for your shit. You know what I mean? Voss, for example. He bites a fucking bullet and he says that, with this whole no ethical consumption under capitalism, he bites a fucking bullet and he says that buying child sex abuse videos is equally as immoral as buying fucking apples from a greengrocer. It's a big fucking mistake. Hey, we're back.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
I gotta actually get some lunch right now, but earlier I was on my laptop and I just exited from my browser, and I guess what I needed to do was click end stream. So
I'm the first person that pronounced your name correctly. I'm Keynotig. Oh yeah, I'm surprised, but that's
a tough one. But I guess hopefully you had fun staying on.
Let me just finish the point I was making. Sure. That's the thing. A lot of these, just going back to the intersectionality thing, a lot of these leftists, it's not clear that they're more likely to go vegan because a lot of them just have a problem with just accepting personal responsibility. So I think what's a more way of telling whether someone's going to go vegan, it's more about their character rather than, because a lot of these political people are just virtue signalers and they just care about looking good more than they care about actually being good,
Yeah, I think there, to kind of summarize what we were talking about, I think there's people who are vegan activists who are also into different political causes, and then there are people who are political activists who happen to be vegan. You know,
Yeah, I do watch some of them. Like I do. There are a few YouTubers I watch who are vegan who talk about other issues. Like that's fine. Like just do something to make the world a better place, and just don't be a fucking virtue signal like a lot of these Vosh people and all that. You know what I mean?
I don't know that person, but I guess I have some stuff to look into. But CD Activism, thanks again for being on. Thanks to everybody who stuck
Thanks
around.
for having me, Has Vegan.
I
Okay, we'll
hope
try
nothing
this
too
again,
terrible.
shall we?
Yeah, I hope nothing too terrible happened when I wasn't here.
Yeah, well, it did.
I hope I don't get kicked off.
Hey,
YouTube. All right, take care,
you'll
everybody.
be banned from YouTube.
All right, bye, everyone.
Yeah, see ya.
Peace.
Hey, yeah.